Welcome, everybody. As promised, it is Jaguar Wright versus Courtney, round two. After the fireworks of last week, Courtney has got the cojones to come back for more. And a huge thank you for Jaguar for coming back on. For Ron, he's here as well. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing night. How have
Hey,
things been
Roro.
last week?
Hey,
Hello.
love it.
How have things been in the last week, Jaguar?
Interesting. Very interesting. It's been an interesting week. New characters are being unlocked in this saga day for day. And I just want to go back to the beginning. I think for me, the biggest accomplishment in this journey to get to the bottom of the truth and to get to the bottom of who the real bad actors are so we can start wrapping this up and focusing keenly past the disinformation on what's important. I want to say salute to my good friend, D. Haven. He just did his interview and it just went live yesterday on Real Life Productions on the Blue Couch. And I can't wait for everyone to hear it. Actually, I would love it if Pierce would take a listen because maybe he'll want to rethink that apology and censoring me on his very uncensored show. You know, they allow people to say whatever, and they really never, ever, ever, you know, they don't show any proof, they don't show any evidence. And I find it funny that the accusers are always demanding all of the information and the names from the victims and from the survivors. But when they say that people are lying about them, they are never required to show any evidence on what makes it a lie. And from here on out, if you're not going to sue me, then prove I'm lying. It's just as simple. Prove it.
What was the name of the gentleman who you said had just done an
D.
interview, Jaguar?
Haven. D. Haven. That's Jay Z's childhood best friend. That's the man that knew Jay Z before he was Jay Z.
I
That's the
think
man
that
whose
Pierre,
family took him into his home and looked out for him. And that's the family that he abandoned when his best friend went to
Okay.
jail. And then he went on to become a celebrity rapper whose first album, who he's now trying to destroy the stock offering so his business partner who put all the money behind it, Dame Dash, can't earn a penny off of it. Turns out, Reasonable Doubt, the entire album, was nothing more than D. Haven's actual diary that Sean Carter put on as a persona and became Jay-Z.
wow.
He's a fraud. He's been a fraud. But what I liked more than anything when D. Haven was sitting over there on the blue couch, the truth couch, he said he doesn't understand. They asked him, did he think if Jay Z would be next? And he said, no, I don't see how because he's one of them. He said he makes choices and movements and everything just like a federal agent. All of his friends are federally protected. And he said, but I don't know. He said, because when Jaguar says things, he said, I wouldn't counter out just yet.
So is this Ronnie Bo? What Ronnie Bo
No,
said?
no, D. Haven,
Because
Yeah,
Ronnie Bo
Jazy's
said the same
childhood
thing.
best friend
we're
from
currently.
RC Projects.
I think we're currently reaching out to D Haven. If I'm being honest with you, I think
Well,
Shane's
if you
already.
want to reach out to D. Haven, I can just call him and give him your number.
We did. We did.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Oh, you
that would
got
work
the
too.
number.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we got it. We got it.
You should
Shane's got
call
it.
my friend.
Yeah,
And
that's
shout
Shane's
out to
job. He's
Marcy Projects and shout out to the Silent Kings. You know, when D. Haven got home from prison, um, he made it his business to rebuild his community, to rebuild where they came from. You know, people hear that chorus, you know, cup off, what was it, cough up alone, where I'm from, Marcy, son, ain't nothing nice. That was a big anthem, and it was, I think, taken as a battle cry to what they had survived. But when you really think about that lyric, cough up a lung, where I'm from, Marcy, son, ain't nothing nice. You know, if it comes out of one person's mouth, it could be a sign of, oh, look at all that we survived. But if it comes out another person's mouth, it might mean, I don't ever want to go back there again. I tell you what, you got to look at the character of a man that's afraid to go back home. I'm not afraid to go back home. People get afraid when I go home, but I'm never afraid to go back home. You got to ask yourself that. Why are people working so hard to cover up the very real details of their life that they've worked so hard to convince people don't exist? Only liars do that. And usually, if you scratch a lie, you'll find a thief. And anybody that can steal can definitely take a life. Sometimes they'll take a life just to cover up that stealing. That's the problem when you start breaking God's laws and you start breaking the commandments. You know, anybody who really believes in the word, they'll tell you if you break one, you're likely going to break them all. Because
Yeah.
it's all symbiotic. It's a domino effect. You start coveting someone else's life. You start wanting their life. Not what they have in their life, but what they have in their life. And then you start wanting to be that person. You start wanting to see yourself as that person. And now you want to erase that person. You want people to only remember you. It goes on and on. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Stop messing around in people's marriages. You know, to sit there and hear D. Haven talk about how him and Sean are both godparents to one of each other's children, and that those relationships have been just put aside almost to maintain his illusion of grandeur. It's I don't know, Alex Spiro, are you sure you want to call the things that I said about Mr. Carter demonstrative lies? Do you know your client as well as you think you do? I don't think so, sir. I don't think so at all. And if I got to kick over every rock that leads to the origin of what we now know as the Jigga Man, I will. I'm going to make it impossible for y'all to see him for anything other than who he actually is. And let's see if you call me a liar at the end of it. You ever call me a liar again, Alex Spiro, and so help me God, you're going to wish you never said my name. Because I'm about to take your star monkey and I'm about to put him on display. The lipstick is coming next. So yeah, that's been the most illuminating part of my week. And now we're here.
I think that Piers Morgan apology was designed to terrify all the other YouTubers and
Yeah,
anyone else who was thinking about getting you on to not
yeah,
get you on. But when
yeah.
we see these dinosaur media people make moves like that, it makes us want to do the opposite. We won't just get you on, we'll put you on live.
God bless you.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, here we are. And I got another interesting phone call from another attorney recently. That was interesting.
Can you elaborate?
I'll get there. I think I need to talk to Mr. Burgess first.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming. Let me
And
check
I
with
actually
Shane.
had a friend that I wanted to invite to tap in at some point. So if you don't mind, could I
We don't
send her
mind.
the link?
We
You
certainly
can
do not mind.
Okay,
tap in
well, her
anyone
name
you want, whenever you want.
Oh, thank you. Well, her name is Dr. Megan McGlover, and she is the author of the book called Stop Lying. And now her new book is about to come out, and that's called And Tell the Truth. And can you believe she asked me? I was so honored when she asked me to write the foreword for it. So I'm getting started on that after we finish up here today. But I think her ability to be able to just cut through the nonsense from a clinical psychology standpoint, I think that that could be really helpful today.
Shane has just confirmed that Courtney is coming on, but it's going to take him about 10 minutes to get on.
Let
So
him
whatever,
take all the time he needs.
whatever
Can
you've got to say in the meantime, go for it. Or anyone you want to bring on, that's great.
I just want to ask you something. I don't want you to answer this, Jag, right? But one of
You
the
don't
things
want me
that
to answer,
I
but you
know,
want
and
to
there's a
have
reason, just in
You
case
did.
anyone's watching, it'll make sense, right? So there's a
Mm.
big debate online about which hand Tupac used. Was he right-handed? Was he left-handed? And I asked Courtney because he's such a good friend of Tupac last week, and I figured with such a vast memory of all of the time he spent with Tupac, he would be a good person to answer this. Now, I don't want you to answer it just now in case anyone's watching, because I would like to ask him again this evening. But the answer that he gave last week seemed to inspire some, internet detectives within my community, and it is one of the many interesting points to go over this evening, I feel.
Really? Oh well, I
I'm just saying. Because all I'm saying is the man, when he was asked how long he knew Tupac, he gave me two states, okay, and
actually he gave you three. He said from New York to Baltimore to LA.
yeah,
I don't think that was the right order, but who's holding him to that? What I will say is he went back and detailed
okay,
his early, East Coast years, and
yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out how he didn't know who Meech is. Like, I know
yeah,
everyone was confused and thought that I was calling Big Meech from BMF. No, I was calling Demetrius Ship Sr., who is also known as Big Meech. Tupac called him Big Meech. Meech and Tupac go all the way back to Juice, and that was Tupac's first movie. And Meech actually produced music that was not only on the soundtrack, but in the score of the film. That was filmed in New York, and that was after Baltimore. Meech was on the set with him virtually every day and in the studio.
yeah.
How didn't Courtney bump into him?
Yeah, it was just like, if to give somebody like yourself who's been in the industry and know these people, that answer might have made sense to you. But for me, it was just, I mean, I asked him 7 times. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I asked him 7 times, and I never really got an answer. But hey, I just watched a video where a guy had said, this guy reminds me of when Mike Tyson was young and he was doing interviews and he sounded a bit mad and got criticized for his answers, right? And I thought that was a good take. But 7 times. 7 times, right? That's where I got to start questioning things.
Well, I'm not mad at you for that. I mean, I think critical thought is a very important thing in any kind of journalism or blogging. I just
Yeah.
got a problem with out and out lies.
Listen, I'd rather you said that statement than me. So yes, carry on, please.
Okay, I got a serious problem with out and out lies. And so let's get clear on this.
Let's
Because
do
if
it.
Mr. Burgess is gonna run, I want to give him a chance to.
Okay.
I want to give him a chance to run right now. Because, sir, I do believe you're in trouble. I believe you got set to the side this week, and you got your finger hand. You did boop, 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 boop. You got smacked. So I'm not gonna do you like I did you last time. I'm just gonna be nice and calm. You can call me losers and kudas and everything you want, as long as you can answer just a few questions. Number one, what made you select the name Jamal T. Millwood as the ghostwriting name for the Kim Porter alleged memoir? Number two, did you know that Jamal T. Millwood was a character in another book, a fictional book, written about a young man with great potential in the world? Just, ooh. I believe it's called Into the Gutter. And I believe you self published that book, even though it was written by Tupac Shakur's father. So let's look at this. Tupac was your friend. And everything you're doing for Pac. But when Pac's dad wrote a book about Pac, you promised to help get that book published, and you didn't get the publishing deal. And then you ran off and you self-published the book anyway, but yet you've turned over no proceeds to that book to the Shakur family or estate. They've been looking for you, by the way. I talked to his brother. Yeah. He's been looking for you, Courtney. He's been trying to figure out how to reach you. I mean, if you like, we could set up something where the two of you gentlemen could talk about, that between the two of you. I'm just trying to figure out how a friend of Pac robs his family, and then not only robs the intellectual property of your friend's family, but then you use a character out of the intellectual property that you stole to give to Chris Todd as a ghost name for Kim Porter's memoir. And you tried to create all kinds of sex craziness connection there, as if that matters after all this time, and nobody really cares. And you actually heard from someone who cherishes Tupac very dearly, and the pristine
All right.
management of his, I don't know, Courtney. I think you got some explaining to do.
Oh, there he is.
How are we doing, Courtney?
Thank you for
What's
joining
going
us.
on?
Hi, Courtney. How are you?
What's
Shabbat
going on?
shalom.
What's going on?
Did you hear any of my questions?
No, I didn't. I didn't come here to hear your questions.
You didn't come here to hear my questions?
Yes.
I thought we were here to talk. You said you wanted to talk
Yeah.
to me. I'm available. Here we are. Shabbat
Okay.
shalom. It is the Sabbath. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's the Sabbath. It's my favorite day of the week.
Okay, that's good.
You know I'm a Sabbath keeper.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
what's your religion?
I'm a Mormon.
You're a Mormon?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
How did you get up in that?
Because I did.
Can I
Well,
just
I
ask
mean,
you guys, can you
Joseph
turn your
Smith is
cameras this way?
fabulous.
Can you guys just turn your cameras the other way for me so you guys are sideways if it's possible? Just
Too
there
late
we
now.
go.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. Beautiful.
Okay,
Now,
let me post up because I'm, hold on, let me get
I got you, Jack. Don't worry. Thanks for coming back as well, Courtney. Just before we get
Courtney,
in.
do you like my
Yeah, thank you.
background?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's cool.
See?
That's cool. I see you're a fan of mine.
I'm just a fan of the drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured I'd make sure you were here just in case you didn't make it. But you're here, so it's great.
Sean, how you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah,
How are
all
you?
good. I hear you going back to the grand jury, Courtney.
Yeah.
Why?
What's that about?
It's because they confiscated my cell phone and found everything in my phone.
So they found
what
something they want to talk to you
Wait,
about?
wait. Just they've confiscated your phone and they've found what on your phone, Courtney?
I'm not allowed to tell y'all what I found is state evidence.
Okay, I'm with you. But, okay,
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Courtney, are you telling me that they lied again? They said that you went back to court this week and that there's no gag order, but now you got one?
No, I don't got that gag order. That's why I don't have a gag order, because everything they found was true.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to talk about it, though.
Not allowed to talk about what
That's
they found.
great. Let's not talk about what was in your phone. Let's
Right.
talk about Into the Gutter.
Go ahead.
You published this book, did you not? You self-published it.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me where you got the manuscript from?
No, I'm not gonna go through that. I just talked to I got it from Mutala Shakur, Tupac
Baba
father.
Shakur. Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know he passed away.
Yes, I do know he passed away.
And the family has been trying to reach you. I just spoke to his brother the other day.
Okay, and I talked to their
Tupac's
lawyer.
brother the other day.
I talked to the lawyer 2 days ago.
I talked to his lawyer last night
Okay,
at
Jeff.
dinner.
Jeff.
Yeah, I spoke to them last night.
Okay, what did he tell
You
you?
want to know what I thought that was interesting? Have you ever worked with him before? Does Ariel work with them?
Work with who?
Uh, Tupac's lawyers,
I don't
the
know.
family's lawyers. Does Ariel work with them?
I don't know.
I mean, she
I
is
don't.
your attorney.
Yeah, but I don't ask about her clients.
Yeah, I know she's very skittish about who she represents and doesn't.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I'm trying to understand. What did his lawyers ask you? Because I know what they asked me.
He asked me, was I selling the book? I said, no, I stopped selling it because he was on parole. He told me not to sell it because he was it'll mess up his parole. His same judge he kept getting who sentenced him back in '73. So I pulled the book.
That's funny because the family has a much different outlook on what
Well,
happened with
first
that
of all,
book.
let me address this. If the family knew so much, why they didn't get the book? If the family knew so much, why he was calling me collect from the jail with a friend of mine's from Newark
That is
and
a
other
great
gang.
question. How did you begin
Right. So
associating with
that's
Baba
what I
Shakur?
understand. I'm not gonna go into it.
No,
I'm not
I'm
gonna debate.
asking. No, I'm just trying to understand where is the intersection with you and Baba Shakur? Like, how did you two get to talking? Like, for him to
Right.
be
So
calling
that's
you
what I'm not
collect all
saying.
the time.
It's a man that's dead, and I'm not gonna go against his family or
Why
Tupac
would you
family.
go
Everybody.
against his family? His family is asking very valid questions that are painting you out to be quite the duplicitous
Well, they
and
could say
just,
that because I can't go into jail and still no book. So they talking because maybe somebody pocket's not tight as fat as they wanted it to be, and I had the book. So you can't say that's a question to ask. I walked into the jail with a drone and stole the book.
I'm trying to ask
I,
you now, how did you
no,
get the
I just
book?
told you he gave me the book
When did he give you the book in jail? Did you go
when he was
visit
in
him?
jail. When he was in jail, he mailed me the book.
Right. So you guys were pen pals. So when did that
Right,
relationship start?
years. You talking about right
Yeah,
after
I
his
know
son?
because you say that you're Tupac's friend and you say that, his father gave you his book
That's
from jail. But
right.
once again, you're not telling anyone how any of this came about.
Because I'm
You're
not going to
giving
incriminate
me
the. Listen, hold up. I'm not going to incriminate the
incriminate.
people.
You
Listen,
can't incriminate a dead man.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the people who works there and myself. How I got the
The
book
people who work where? At the jail?
at the jail.
Oh, so there was some funny stuff going on at the jail?
No, I'm not saying
Funny
that.
stuff goes on at the jail all the time.
I'm not
If the
saying that.
transfer of that man's book to you was absolutely legitimate, you have no reason to be so coy or so shy. But now you're saying that you can't talk about it because you don't want to get anybody in the jail in trouble.
Listen, the book was given to me and I published it.
You said it
It
was
wasn't
mailed
still.
to you.
Listen, no,
Now you're saying
no,
given. That's two
no.
different things. Was it
Listen,
given? Was it mailed? See,
hold up,
mail comes in an envelope.
hold up.
Given means someone handy.
Jaguar, you gonna let me talk or you going to fill in the
I
punch
just
question?
want to get
Well,
an
you got to know how to be
honest
quiet.
answer, dude.
Listen, Jaguar, I
I'm going
came
to
on here.
mute up. Tell your
Well,
story.
yes, please mute up because you're talking too much. That's your problem. And I'm gonna stop calling you Jaguar. I'm gonna call you Mushira. Mushira is a girl from Stuyvesant that do everything. Okay, and that's what you are, Mushira. Just because your career is messed up, you want to go after Beyonce, Mary J. Blige. Get
My
yourself
career
together.
is messed up. How is
Yes,
my
'cause look
career
at you. Your
messed
whole
up?
face is fucked
What
up.
is
So
my
listen,
career?
listen.
Excuse me,
I'm
sir.
not
What
gonna
is
go
my
through all that.
career?
Listen with you.
No, what's my
If you
career?
want to let me
If you're
answer
going
the
to bring it
question,
up,
or you
I
want to
want you
answer
to
it,
tell me what it is. What's my
listen.
career?
I don't know what your career is, but it's you
So
on here
then
for
how can you
some.
speak about something that you don't
Listen,
know about?
listen.
More
All I hear,
importantly,
because
whatever I
all
say
I
about
hear is you.
Beyonce has
Listen,
nothing to do with you. Whatever I say about anyone else has
but that's
nothing to
all I
do with
hear from
you.
you.
So
All I
why
hear from
are
you.
you
I didn't come on
defending
here to
people
argue
that
with
have
you,
nothing to do with this conversation?
Sean.
You are
Can you mute her,
defending
Sean?
people that have
Sean, can you mute her
nothing
till
to
I answer
do
the
with this
question?
conversation. You're
Sean,
starting
I
to
think
tell on yourself.
can you
Put
mute
your
her if I answer?
triangles up to your eye
one thing.
like you're corny as
Let her just
fuck.
finish.
Yeah, I will.
Explain yourself.
Right, your turn, Courtney.
Sean, the book was handed to me from one of his students. Another book was mailed to me from his jail cell. I used to take one of his students to all the venues of the college to speaking. That's how I got the book. The book you can't steal a book from a man in jail. That means I got to go through the boards. I've never been in the jail. I never visited him in the jail, but I got several phone calls from him. So I don't know, maybe somebody looking for a come up or a lick. I don't know what it is.
You not looking for a come up?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Like you
because if I was looking for a come up,
right
I would have put the.
You're sitting here disparaging people that don't know you, sir. No one.
Okay, so how I get the book then? Tell me. You tell me your theory. How I got the book.
Sir?
How did I get the book? How did I get the book?
We're asking. Matter of fact,
I'm telling you, but don't ask me if you don't know.
Information. How did you get all of that information?
Don't worry about it. I don't. You not listen. I ain't telling you anything. I'm not telling you anything, Jay. Mushira, I'm not telling you anything. Okay.
Okay, TD Snakes. Covered in blessed baby oil for all I know.
Hey,
you know,
you was at the parties.
Do the insult game
you was at the parties. You was at the parties.
What I do want to apologize.
You was at the parties. They call you mouth ass train.
I do want to apologize for something though, Courtney. Before
wait, I'm not apologizing for anything. I did apologize. You was disrespectful.
I want to apologize to your mother because I don't think she knew what she was giving birth to.
Listen, I'm gonna let you talk because you know what? I can say some. I can say some. Listen, I can say some ignorant things to you, but I'm too involved with. Sean, can you mute her, please?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is we're going to do this point around and give everybody
too disrespectful. You understand? I'm not going to go through this one.
I'm 100%.
Sean, I'm going to say this one time, Sean. Yeah. My mother passed away. I'm going to stop letting her disrespect me. You understand? She's a very disrespectful woman. If somebody sees somebody about her son, she'll lose more hair on her head. But I'm not going to say anything to her.
Just apologize.
No, don't apologize. Don't say nothing to me. You do the interview, let them ask you questions, you answer. Don't talk direct to me. You don't got permission. You lost the permission. You lost that respect. I respect every woman.
Courtney, we've got a bit off track, Courtney. You were telling us why the grand jury want you back.
Because they found something on your phone, and
they want to talk to you about that.
Go ahead.
Can you expand on that? They found something on your phone. They want to question you about that. To do with the Diddy case.
Yes. I'm not a witness. I wasn't a witness. I was there. They asked me about my phone. Where's my stuff? I said, my stuff is downstairs. They took the phone and they found everything in my phone, in my email. Actually, what I was saying, from the book onto everything they found inside my Gmail. So that's what it was.
So they're taking.
I'm not going to get on here and keep talking. Go ahead.
To want you to come back to the grand jury then. Whatever they found on your phone, they're taking hella seriously.
Right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be.
That's why they didn't. That's why they didn't let him put a gag order on me, because what I was saying, everything that was in the book and I said it was true. If it was false, they would have put the gag order on me.
So this kind of legitimizes what you've got. The feds are now taking it seriously.
Right.
If it was BS, they wouldn't be bringing you back. Right.
Now you got it. But I wasn't a witness at first. But I'm not going to get on here and keep putting my foot in my mouth because of other people being ignorant to make me talk wrong. Because it's coming out. If I got the book, I must be had to knew the father to get the book. I must be knew Tupac if I signed his artist who saved Fatal to Relativity Records.
Or he said Tupac again.
Wow. So now you're still trying to legitimize.
I'm not going to try to legitimize anything. I'm not going to legitimize anything. It's facts.
Who saying Fatal has absolutely nothing to do with anything? I can get on the phone and call an outlaw right now.
I'm saying, listen, right now. You don't got to do that. They're going to tell you, I don't want to sign. Listen, I don't got to go through all that. Sean, can you please meet her if you're going to answer me a question, Sean?
My issue is with you is this, Courtney. Number one, and Roro, I would like just a little confirmation here.
Of course.
I've already stated that I believe that everything you had was real.
100% you said that, yeah.
I've already said that.
Yeah, 100%.
I said the reason why they wanted it was to see if it already lined up with everything that was already there. I've already said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already told you anything that came from Kim was already taken from Diddy. That's where she got it from. Kim wasn't running around setting up cameras. She became a very, very, very skilled information agent, and she learned how to get evidence.
And I did not come on here to go against you, Jaguar. I don't work for Jay-Z. I don't work for no Diddy. I don't work for none of them.
Yeah.
I work for myself.
Okay.
Everything I work for, I own.
Got it. I'm
And it
telling you
wasn't
right
no.
now,
I never came on
you're
here to
giving me
disrespect
Stan
you.
vibes, G. You're giving me Stan vibes.
Okay, well, don't think that.
You're giving
Don't
me
think that.
Stan vibes.
Okay, well, you can
Because
have what
everyone that is directly attached to these things that you're talking about don't know you, sir.
they don't have
That's
to.
odd.
They
That's
don't have
odd.
to
No,
know
it's
me.
odd for you to be this good friend of a man and you can't give us not one real life testimony of your
I'm not.
relationship with this man. You
I'm not.
can't give us.
I'm not. I'm
One
not.
second, Courtney. 1 second, Courtney. Jag. So just to sort of clarify to everyone that's watching, none of us are questioning the legitimacy of what Courtney has done for this case, what he's handed in, any of that. 100%, he should be commended for all of that. I think that one of the main questions, Courtney, is the length of time that you were in possession of some of this media and why it took so long for you to hand it. Was it was it the fact that Diddy was still free? Because I'm telling you now, I imagine having the knowledge that you did, there must have been a certain level of fear surrounding you about when you were going to release this and how you would get it out.
No, it wasn't
No.
Diddy. I don't fear no Diddy. I've been talking about Diddy when the wheel was on Hot 97.1.
I'm sure. Well, there's a big difference between being outwardly spoken and
I
putting
was.
nails in a coffin.
You
If that
can't
makes
be
sense.
no outspoken than that on the radio. It was way back when Relativity Records was up. I spoke about it with Michael Geronimo.
You
All
do
of
know
it.
that I ghost wrote for Relativity.
Okay, my A&R was a wind up booth.
You remember? Do you remember Teflon?
Yes.
You know Teflon and me, we ghost wrote together. It's a very good friend of mine.
Okay. And I was there.
When's the last time you produced out of D&D Studios?
It's been a long time. I don't know what I wasn't at D&D. I was at Platinum Island up on Broadway.
What's the correct name? What's the street name for D&D Studios?
I don't know. I never told you. I never recorded there.
That's funny because everybody in the streets called it Mecca.
Okay.
Every real hip hopper who produced always referred to D&D Studios as Mecca.
Well, I didn't go to D&D. I had the studio.
How don't listen to me? If you were producing in New York, there is no way you get around D&D Studios. No way.
I don't got to go to
Studios.
Hang on.
It was Daddy's house and it was Sony.
Okay, so your argument, Jag, is you couldn't have produced in New York without knowing this terminology.
Exactly.
Courtney, what you're saying is you never produced at this location.
I did one session with Hot Tower. I forgot the name of the studio. Big Hot Tower. We was up in the studio with him. Then I was up in the studio with Rob Tulo, was the A&R at Atlantic Records with Fat Joe.
What street?
I don't know the street. I don't know.
Lower Manhattan.
Listen.
I can't. Manhattan.
Listen, I'm not gonna go through all that.
Why
I'm not
not?
gonna, because I don't know.
This is basic history from one vet to another.
Well, listen,
if you're everything that you say you are, and if I'm as big a loser as you say you are, and if you're the winner that you say you are, you should be able to have comprehensive conversation.
I'm not here to sell myself to anybody.
You don't have to sell yourself.
I don't have to anyway.
We're supposed to
I don't have to do.
We should be able to talk about this.
Do you know what?
Talk about it, but listen. Look on the credits of the record, you will see who I am. I'm not gonna go through all that back and forth about who that.
I know plenty of people that got their names on records.
Okay, well, listen.
Shit at all.
Okay, well, that's them.
Look at half of Beyonce's credits.
Well, listen, I'm not here to talk about Beyonce. I'm here to listen. Sean.
You were defending Beyonce just a second ago. You better watch out. Her husband might get mad. You're doing a bad job.
Listen.
Courtney, are you in the longest? Are you in the longest tunnel in the world right now? I just want to ask you that.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm in New York. I'm coming from China. I'm coming from Little Italy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because you know for a fact the conspiracy theories are going to be coming out about the tunnels now, and because I've not seen a single car go past you. Right, this is Courtney's private tunnel. Okay, no, I'm just kidding, Courtney.
We're just waiting for him to pull up to the Starbucks. We're just waiting for him to pull up to the Starbucks, baby. Go ahead and get
the Starbucks.
Latte crunch, baby. It's fabulous. And I had to pay for mine.
Sean, I came up here for love. I got love for Jaguar. I'm not here to beef with her. She thought I came in here to beef for her. I did come up here to be for her. I don't work for none of them, Sean or Diddy. I work for Courtney B. I came up under Burgess Connection Management.
But
In
we've
the
got.
studio, I record at mad pace.
We're just
I
trying
did
to.
all my
We're trying,
recording at mad pace in
You
East
ever record
Orange
in
with tracks in
Philadelphia?
them where they went to.
You ever record in
No, I
Philadelphia?
never. Nope,
Where you
Courtney,
record at in LA?
nope. With
is your
Simi, he
name?
did.
Oh,
I did a Simi, and I was up there with Eliza
Yep. Eliza
in the Bay
who?
Area. You know who? I'm not gonna say the name for you can say go through all that. I was
Eliza
out there with her.
who?
Listen, I was up in the Bay Area. I
I know
did songs with.
everybody in the Bay.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Everybody in the Bay know me.
That's
I
good.
find that funny. For me to be such a loser, everybody seems to know me.
I didn't call
And
you a
it
loser,
seems to work with
but
everybody.
let me tell you
How does
something. See,
that
that's just it.
happen?
Listen, that's just it. My name don't get bigger than my money. Because when your name get bigger than your money, it's no good. When your name's
Oh,
so
honey,
big, you know, even
I
if you,
am the money.
well, that's you.
I am
That's
the money.
you. I
My
don't praise
name,
money.
when people type my name, they make money. I've
Okay.
been making money for people for years, millions. And guess what? I made a lot of money for the Carters, even against
I
my
don't want to
will,
talk about the Carters.
even against my
I don't want to talk about the Carters.
I bet you don't, not after this election.
I don't want to talk about the Carters.
After this election, I bet nobody wants to talk about anybody that backed up the
No, they don't got
demonic
no.
national
Listen, hold up,
convention.
hold up. I got love for Beyonce and Jay-Z.
I
That's
bet
not
you
why I don't
do.
want to. Yeah, what's
We're out
come
the
on,
tunnel.
don't do that.
You made it to the other end of the tunnel, Courtney. Okay. Every
Yes, I
time you're on
did.
here now, you need to find a longer tunnel. This has got to be part of your whole interview persona. I'll tell you what, the camera angle is way better this time. I'm disappointed you've not got the other glasses on. I'm a huge fan
Well,
of the
there
other
they are.
glasses. Right. I need to ask you this. Is there a name of that frame of glasses? Is there a specific name of that frame, the big black one?
Yeah, they call Gotham's. What made me get them? I saw Robert De
You
Niro
got the
had them on the
pizza on
casino.
your license plate.
You got pizza
You
on your
got the
listen.
Gothams on your
Listen,
face. You in the never-ending tunnels, dude. You
listen.
dropping triangles like you on the ranch.
Oh
I'm just
yeah.
saying, bro. You
Why
got a
you
lot
crazy,
going on, G.
Jaguar?
Yeah.
Why you doing that, Jaguar?
The
Don't do that.
glasses, the hand signals, right? I swear to God, I think I done about 2.5 hours of content just on your hand signals, Courtney,
Okay,
right?
well, you know, it's not done on
Listen,
purpose. It's just a
I get
habit.
you. I get you.
It's
But
just a
You was
habit.
a nervous kid.
you know,
No, I'm never nervous, Jaguar.
do you know what I'm saying? So
We
I
gonna
have
have
to
some
say
fun
though,
today, Courtney. I promise you that. We gonna have some fun.
I have to
Okay.
say, you're a different Courtney tonight. I have to say, right?
Yeah. Cause I need
So
rest. You don't know I ain't been getting rest.
I bet you have.
I haven't been getting rest. You understand?
a lot
Home
of sleep
security
at
is
night.
no joke.
You
Home
lose
security
a
is no
lot of
joke.
sleep being a viral sensation. Speaking for me.
Oh, it's too good. This is brilliant. Okay, so just once again, right? I feel like a lot of the things that we're sort of digging in on Courtney are things that Jaguar, you're feeling very strongly about. Of course, the original interview, you were talking about your friend who you felt was disrespected, and we've covered all of that. But
I want
the
to ask
bigger,
Jaguar one question, Sean.
all right,
Yep, go for it.
Shoot.
yeah, don't worry about my point. It's
Jaguar,
fine. Just crack on.
don't take it personal, Jaguar. You know what was bothering me? Why did everybody jump over you and Gene and land in my face and got me up in grand jury? I was so good and quiet until I don't know. I love my life before all this. Serious.
I
I
know
didn't
it's
come here to
awful, isn't it?
I didn't come here to put Diddy in a kick him while he was down. No, that's not what I came on for. Diddy,
Courtney, can I say something to you?
go ahead.
Have you ever taken into consideration you were selected for
Yes,
this?
yes, yes.
You know, that's the
I
thing I
realized that
keep
last night.
trying
I realized
to
that
get
last night.
people to understand. There is a much greater and more elegant design behind all of these things. When I came here and I said your life is on the line, I wasn't trying to threaten you. I said the same thing to Ronnie Bo. I see this thing from a different angle than a lot of people. But I'm telling you right now, I'll pray for you.
Thank you. And I'm taking
But
that.
you
I'm
have been
taking.
selected.
I know I have been. I realized that last night. I was thinking about that all last night.
Damn. That's quite a major moment for you two. I'm not going to lie. That's quite a major moment for this interview, if I'm being honest, because when so realizing that effectively you've been hand selected to be an unwitting pawn in a larger game is what we're saying here, Courtney. And, you know, when we talk about predatory activity and the I've got, you know, the G word that rhymes with vrooming that we can't say on YouTube, right? It's what you would do to, you know, you would take a dog to get groomed, a dog groom, that kind of word, right? There is so many people that fall victim to this, Courtney, right? And we're talking about parents, we're talking about politicians, we're talking about average people. And I hope you don't fall into a mental state about how could this happen to me or anything, because this happens every day and people don't even realize. And the fact that you're standing there and saying, I think this is what has happened to me is massive. Okay. Whether or not, you know, you've got true belief in that statement or not, I hope that you do. But I mean, how do you feel, Sean? Was that not quite a massive moment?
I've got yeah, it was, but I've got quite an important question for Courtney.
All right.
Courtney, are you even Courtney?
Yes, I am.
Courtney Burgess?
Yes, I am Courtney Burgess.
Are you sure? Because in another interview you said that you wasn't. That was just your stage name.
I'm Courtney Burgess. No, the reason why I said that to that guy because he stood up there, he was bullshitting the audience, talking about he know the FBI, he direct, and I had the paperwork to show him on the set because there's a lot of BS come up on here. He tried to put a name for himself and come off on me. He not gonna come up off of me. You understand? He said there like, yo, I'm connected. I can call FBI and find out everybody pro. And he said he couldn't find. I said, you don't even know my name. You don't know nothing. You feed off what everybody else saying. They come up and want to do a podcast, want to be somebody. And then when I showed him the papers and he saw it, he felt so bad because I tore down his credibility. You understand? I know why they chose me to go against him. I already know, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just waiting to how this roll out.
So you are Courtney Burgess, but you were just playing with that guy, saying
I was playing with him because he told he read it to me, he ain't find nothing. And then I throw up the papers up in his face. You're lying. And I want to see who is who. Honestly, Gene and Jaguar, they're the most legit people I seen up on here. I know I ratted them. I have nothing but respect and love for you, Jaguar. You talk to Gene, I have respect for him. But I do things to give somebody a bone to see how they go bury it.
Well,
you understand? And it came right back.
Not to.
Right.
You would be a fool not to.
Right.
Listen to me. When you're playing the disinformation game, you be a fool not to throw a little in there yourself to see where it comes out. You know, for those people who have ever read books like The Art of War or any of the Confucius Says or this, that, and the other, you have to learn how to beat the grass to see where the snakes are.
Right.
I do it all the time. I'm very clever. The problem
he came
is,
out. He came out.
But the problem is you got to be careful and make sure that the stick you hitting that grass with doesn't jump back up and hit you in the head. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still got to hold that stick. And you're in a position now where you got people that are going to take everything you've said and use it to make money. That's what this is.
I know. That's why I want to talk about it. And again, for you, Jaguar, I don't know everything. All this is new to me. You understand?
Guess
and I respect you.
I respect
you. Okay.
I don't either, Courtney. But I'm desperate to learn.
And I'm desperate to learn too, because I gotta watch what's going on. And I followed your footsteps. You understand? And also, Jay, I follow your footsteps to see how y'all still relevant today. You know what I'm saying? It matters a lot.
I'm G'd up.
It matters a lot. Because you can make a lot of enemies, and they can make a lot of fake friends, and they can make a lot of family at the same time.
Be careful.
Oh, I'm definitely is.
You want to know a little trick that I've learned before I sit with anybody? I see whether or not their channel is shadow banana. If their channel is shadow banana, that's who I want to sit with, because that's where they're trying to stop the truth.
Okay.
That's the one thing that I've learned. Wherever people get fought the hardest on their channel about letting out the truth, that's where I want to be to help them push through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really the key. That's why I tell people, when you get into this whole internet game, you know, it hasn't been easy to go from being marked to truly being willing to become the content and then turn your life into an algorithm, which is what I've done. Takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of thinking. But what I will tell you is this. Once you take your algorithm and you make it your own, you'll have a better opportunity at having control of what happens next. I don't know who brought you what you got that the feds now have, but they were not your friend, G.
I know that.
They were not your friend.
Somebody snitched on me.
I know. They handed it to you and then they snitched on you.
Yeah.
To make sure you went to the grand jury, because like you said, and like I said, how the hell he ended up there and me and G still sitting fine?
Right. Right.
Somebody wanted you there.
Right.
That's how you ended up there. It's for you to figure out.
I figured it out already.
Well then, you have my prayers, and you know who your enemy is.
Yes, I do.
We ain't gotta say no more about that at all.
Damn.
But
All
I
right.
appreciate your light, Jaguar. Don't think I got any soul in my mouth from last time. No, I didn't come here prepared to do anything to go against you or any of that. You know,
And
so
I
I came
came
from
here and
a
I was
woman.
being cheeky the
Okay, I came
first
from a
time.
woman. Yeah.
But I apologize what I said about your mother. I'm sorry.
Okay, I accept that.
I'm sorry.
I accept your apology.
A lot of the viewers are concerned about both you guys' safety. Do you have any reassurances for the viewers?
I'm learning from Jack. Go ahead. You gotta tell me how to be safe, Jack. I
Do
know
you
I
know how to
started by not
pray?
eating and drinking.
Do
Yeah,
you
I'll
know
pray
how to
real good.
pray? Do you know how to
Yes.
pray?
Yes.
Never stop. And never eat
Right.
by strange hands. And if you have
Right.
to eat out at a restaurant, make sure it's a place you don't go to often.
I never
I
eat out
don't
the
eat
same
by
place.
strange hands.
Right.
And if
I
they're
never eat
strange,
out the
they have
same
to be
place twice.
random.
Right.
You do me a favor. If you're really interested, just reach out to me. I'll talk to you offline.
Okay. I'm
You're in
going
a
to do that.
tricky spot. You're
I'm
in a
going to do
tricky
that.
spot.
I'm going to do that.
I'm just
Definitely
glad
want.
you know who your enemies are now.
Yes, I do. It took hard thinking yesterday, and I got to thank you for that, because I knew I was going to be here today with you and Sean. But yesterday I had to think, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's really going on? How they jump over all these people and just grab me? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Now don't get me wrong. Whatever he did to put himself where he at, that's his business. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish a cage on nobody. Even a gorilla, I don't wish a cage on them. They deserve to be free.
Even a gorilla has a soul. Whatever that thing is sitting in MCP lost its soul a long time
Right.
ago.
And they keeping it there to keep it from getting out. You know what I'm saying? And I feel sorry for his girls,
I don't.
the twins. I really do.
The sorriest I felt for them was when their mother left this earth.
Right. Right.
They're prisoners, all of them, in the devil's mouth.
Right.
It's Cornell, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. Is that Dr. Cornell
I
West?
swear to God, I thought they said Courtney.
Oh my God, it's Dr. Cornell West. Oh, hello, brother.
How you doing, my dear sister?
We were praying for you the whole time.
Yeah, well, that is good now, because we still swinging.
Gotta
You
keep
know that.
swinging.
You all looking strong as ever.
Indeed.
Oh,
Your name is
I'm Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Oh, there. Well,
Hold on a second. Everyone, can you say hi to one of our last?
Oh, how you all
Hello.
doing? I'm so blessed to be here with this special two
What's going on?
Greetings from England.
from
This is Dr.
England.
Cornell
From
West.
England.
What's up, Cornell?
Is that right?
And this is Sean Atwood.
My God, my
And that's
God.
Courtney Burgess. He's that grand jury person that they have all tied up in that Diddy mess.
Oh, my God, my God. But no, I'm praying for y'all, but you all stay strong now. We still
Cornell,
swinging.
can I ask you a question, Cornell?
Well, right quick, though, because I'm getting ready. I'm running late here.
Who's your favorite philosopher you like to read?
John Coltrane.
That part. Oh, yes. Oh, bless it. You know, oh my God, you know, nobody even knew that he was running for president. Can you believe that? That black man ran for, that smart black man was running for president. Ain't nobody even know.
Wow. That was certainly nice to meet him. It was awesome, Jaguar. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have all kinds of interesting people around me all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad he was here to bestow a prayer blessing.
What a guy.
He was right,
Yeah.
Courtney. Stay safe.
I am. Thank you.
I'm mixed up with some very interesting, real people. If you should ever need my help, just let me know.
I'm gonna reach out for you. Leave your number with Sean. Sean to get it to me, and I'll leave
They
mine
got
with
my
him.
number.
Okay,
They got my number.
Sean. You give her my number too.
Yep, no problem.
So,
So Courtney, people want to know how this is going to play out with the grand jury second hearing for you.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm being honest. I don't know what's coming forward. You know,
You
but they
and I should
found.
talk before you go in because I got a feeling you might need new legal representation
Okay.
or additional. You know, Chris Todd keeps talking about how irrelevant Ariel is about to become. And I don't like the way that sounds with him bragging about that. Might not be
What's
bad
that?
to have a backup.
Okay.
But
I
you know,
have.
I'm a Black Panther, and I serve at the pleasure of the chairman of the board, Fred Hampton Jr., son of Fred Hampton Sr., and our greatest objective is freedom all, and power to our people. You know, Ronnie Bowe is in a very interesting situation now where they're trying to force him back inside. They play around with our people. You might need a little extra protection. You let us know. I know some people that might be able to help.
Okay.
But I think they're trying to railroad you.
Right.
And they're trying to throw something on you that ain't yours.
Oh, they definitely can't do that. Ain't nothing mine. I think they more trying to get me to bring him down.
I know you are definitely being used, but
Yeah.
trust me, if they can't get you to do what they want you to do, they'll find another way to get it done.
Right.
See, it's that plan B. It's those contingencies that you always have to prepare for.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Did Ariel find you or did you find her?
It was like they found me. I didn't find her.
That makes sense.
Todd introduced me to me. Chris Todd.
That's interesting because Chris Todd just said that after the gag orders were in place, she was going to be irrelevant. What does everybody seem to know that you don't know?
Hey, I want to try to find out. I would love to know because everybody keeps saying it. I got the word that it wasn't no gag. They called me person that was no gag on me.
So why are people lying?
I don't know. It's not.
How do you feel about Chris?
Chris is cool. You know, I don't know him, but he's cool so far.
Okay.
You know, I don't sit around and bait a judgment. I don't talk to him enough to say, oh, he's this or that. You know, I got other things to give time to.
No, he's been
So
doing some interviews with some other content creators, and he's been reaching out for me.
Jaguar, our most requested video right now is to have you and Chris go live.
What do you think about that, Courtney?
I'm not your enemy. So if you, like you said, you investigate everybody who before you go on there, and every podcast you come on the
I
host.
do.
Yeah. So that's what you know. What you taught me just now. That's what you should do.
Okay. Then I guess I'm going to have to keep it in prayer.
Right. That's what I do. I pray all the time. I pray all day.
You got to in this day and age.
Yeah.
Everybody's up to something. Everybody got to hustle, and everybody's got a new set of lies.
Right. This is all this great is wisdom. I ain't stressing about anything. You understand?
Well, you're not supposed to.
Oh, no, I have
None
to.
of us are, not even at the worst of it.
Yeah.
It's all in God's hands. The truth is, we're just acting out our parts. This was all written.
Right. Right. That's what I came up with last night. This was written. This was written. Because it's generations. This ain't just pop up to this is generation thing. And they seek me out and said, okay, only person strong enough to go up against them will be me. Not taking that away from y'all, but that he can't come back and say, oh, I'm mad because I ain't work with him or this or that. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. The question is why were you selected, though? Who chose you?
I don't know. I'll find out by the time I go to court to 12.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And I definitely, you'll be the third person to know.
Where? Where?
I would definitely call you, even if you got um an iPhone. I zoom you in.
I got all kinds of phones.
Okay.
I even got 4G phones still.
Okay.
I got a satellite phone, too.
Yeah.
You're going to get to know about me. I'm not at all what I seem.
No, I never thought anything bad about you. If you ask anybody, I had no beef with you when you first came on. You were shocked the way, but sometimes, like you say, I do the same thing to rattle somebody, see what if what's under their skirt, pull their t-shirts, see if they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've been, listen to me, I have been horse trading with men at boardroom tables for 27 years.
I did a couple of shows with the Roots.
I'm sure a lot of people have.
Yeah,
They've been around.
yeah.
You know, it's so funny when I hear people talk about my history with the Roots. They never ever take into consideration why I walked away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people, they like to wrap up people's careers based on the active stats and this and that, but they don't really go and look at the DNA of who they are. The second that they were willing to sign to be the Tonight Show band for Jimmy Fallon, I lost all interest in having anything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sellout moment. See, hip hop was changing, and the kind of music that they were making was no longer popular. They were going to be opening acts, and their show was way too expensive. I'll never forget sitting with Rich and asking Rich, our manager, why won't you guys just force them to do the independent label? We'll be a major in no time. But they wanted to pledge allegiance, or should I say Amir wanted to pledge allegiance to Jay-Z. See? And then I watched them gatekeep all of Philadelphia hip hop and turn it over to New York, whether it be Bad Boy or Rock Nation. You know, there's nothing worse than being absolutely amazing at what you do and believing in what you do so much that you're willing to walk away from everything you worked for to save what's important. I'm just that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
God needed me more here. I played dress up enough. I had everything that any woman could have ever wanted and 10 times over. I had 3 boyfriends that I left that were billionaires. How do you do that?
Because you know
Just
what you're
God.
worth. You know
Just
what you're
God.
worth. Yeah. You know your worth.
God. I don't need all of that other stuff. But I'm going to tell you something right now. To be able to go out on tour and not have to worry about what girl came up missing and if she got, moved around. To be able to go out into the studio and not have to worry about if a crime was committed in my recording booth before I started recording. Cruelty-free. To be able to create that cruelty-free environment so artists can just be artists. That's where I am with it now, Courtney. That's all that matters to me now.
I understand that. What's next, though?
Well,
No, you don't got to answer. Put it out there. But I'm just saying, what's next after,
it looks like we made it through the wash. Now it's time to get to the rinse.
Right. That's what answer I was looking for.
Yeah.
People are asking, Jaguar, if you have any ideas of who is controlling or manipulating Courtney.
I have a few.
Figured.
Out of respect for Courtney's safety and his grand jury appearance, I'll keep that to myself right now.
Of course, yeah.
I think we all need to keep a tight eye what happens on the 12th. I got a feeling some surprising things are about to come forward.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than running from a lie. Because you can't outrun it. No matter how hard you try. Look at Keefe D right now. Him and his family are greenlit. Their lives are on the line. And after all of this time, after I told him to tell the truth last year, now he finally wants to tell people he was lying. But see, he had that proffer deal. And what a proffer deal means is that you don't get prosecuted for anything you do as long as you're turning over information. That's why I don't understand why these people who make deals with a government that has never been fair think it's safe to make deals. Because the second you make a deal with the government, the only person that's forced to stick to that deal is you. All they got to do is get a new politician to come in and say, we ain't honoring this no more. We got a new guy. And there goes your profit deal. Am I wrong, Courtney?
Nope, you're not wrong.
Ain't no point in lying for it. You might end up dying for it. It's a line I wrote in one of my songs. Here we are. Woo! I wish I could say more, but I can't.
Yeah. We'll save it for after the 12th.
Yeah, I think you need to get through the 12th.
So, I mean, I'll be honest, we've taken some pretty incredible steps on the podcast today compared to the first episode. I think this conversation has been amazing. And, waiting to see exactly what comes from your evidence, Courtney. I think everyone is waiting excitedly, because I think that's going to be the next big moment for you. How do you think your life, we're already talking about how your life's changed already. If your evidence is used as a key element in this case, it's going to just blow up 10 times the size, right? Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for it because one, whatever they did and they found, I'm talking the ones who they see. I wasn't there when they did it. They did it.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. No, absolutely not. I'm not saying by any means you're guilty of
Uh-huh.
anything. I'm just saying it seems like this could be a major moment in the case. I mean, if this is you've handed in physical evidence, it's so publicly known. There's so many eyes waiting on to see what the answers are. If this turns out to be key evidence, you're going to be it's going to blow up even more, is what I'm saying. And I think that'll be
I
a
didn't hand
positive.
it to them. They conversated. I didn't hand. I ain't walking in and say, "Here you go." I didn't walk
Okay,
in there with a laptop or there.
and I take
I
it
had
your
a regular
end.
phone like you have it,
Yeah,
and that's how they enter my Gmail from my phone.
yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
set you up something nasty.
Yes, they did.
I'm assuming I can't ask you any further questions about the phone, right? Because it's evidence. I'm assuming.
Correct.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
depends. All I can do is don't answer. You don't hear from trying.
Well, if the feds have entered your handset through your phone, right, and they have then requested you to come and give evidence, what was it that was on the phone that spurred them? Was it conversations? Was it media? What was it that gave them the signal from intercepting your phone that you had USB drives?
I only had videos, pictures, and conversations. So whatever they found that was true, that is true. Because I didn't, I can't look like nobody and play a role. It was true what they found. I wasn't like I came there to hand it to them. If anybody ever been in that court before, they take it probably from you anyway before you go upstairs, and they give you a token.
Sure.
So once they found out once they had me there, that's when they went down there and took the phone. It ain't like
Okay.
I walk up there and push play. Like, see, no, they walk me right back down. Say, oh, we need the phone. They already had it in their property. I never been in a court like that. That they take
Okay. Yeah.
everything.
Okay. So again, I just want to ask one more question. So if they've came in through your phone and requested that you leave your phone, I'm assuming they're assuming that there's more evidence on your phone. And for me, I've got to ask you because I'm a bit of a nerd, right? If something starts off on a USB drive and then it ends up on your phone, what's the correlation between the evidence and your phone?
Because the phone, an iPhone, I know, you go straight from the iPhone into your Gmail or your TikTok or your messages. Who called you? So I guess I don't know how they put it up to bring it up.
They were
But
researching your metadata and they wanted to be able to see the origin of every file you had.
exactly, that's better said.
Okay, so then how did the files get from the USB drives to your phone?
Because if you plug your GPS into your whatever you plug it in, it drops into your Gmail or on your phone, and it comes to yourself. It comes to your cell phone. That's how it's
So
rigged.
He has all of his accounts synced.
Right.
okay,
Right.
so I
They're all
understand.
clouded.
Yeah, I understand that, right? So if you've been handed evidence on a USB flash drive, right, at no point when you plug that flash drive into a computer is it going to upload to a cloud or go to your Gmail or anything like that. That's just not how operating systems work. So what I'm asking is, how, if the evidence was all on USB drives that you were handed, what's the correlation to the evidence now being on your phone?
I could have put it in my Gmail for saves like my files or my notes.
Okay.
It booted up to my phone that you can enter from my phone.
Okay, so effectively, you think what you're saying is you've made a backup of the evidence on a server or a cloud system like this, and then through doing that, your phone has automatically updated. That I can understand, just so that we understand. So, in your mind, then, I mean, putting this. So, just to confirm, then, what you're saying is you did a backup. Is that what we're getting at? You did a backup.
It wasn't done on purpose. It was done just to be able to go to it. You understand?
No.
So since it was already in my Gmail, I can always go through my phone and shoot pictures, shoot videos, whatever I want to do. If I need it for my that's how I went. I
Okay,
can't
so
explain. I really
okay,
can't. It wasn't done on purpose, like that. Walk around and say, "Oh, look at this, look at that." No, it was in my computer, and then it went there, and then certain things I didn't want to look at, and it was tossed into my fireplace. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into stuff like that.
no, I understand. I understand. I'm not saying that you aren't and stuff like that by any means. It's just again, I, I just don't understand unless you're doing a manual backup of information you're dragging and dropping off a USB drive into a cloud. You can educate me in the side chat, but
Roro, can I say something?
please do, please.
The question that you're asking, he might not be able to answer.
I'm with you. All right, no problem.
And what I will say is this: when it comes to government agencies, we all have to realize that there are definitely parts of our government, especially in law enforcement, that are going to be compromised heavily throughout the course of this entire investigation. And there might be an idea that they weren't just looking for the evidence; they might have been looking for something else in his phone, or they might
Oh,
have been looking to,
100%.
or
100%.
possibly leaving something in
100%.
his phone,
Oh,
possibly.
I completely agree that these individuals who manage to make 300,000 children minimum, if not more, millions around the world vanish every year, they're more than capable of infiltrating an individual's phone and corrupting it. So, for me, I just wanted to 100% get
You
a
know, they
definitive.
do tethers all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because all they have to do is put a tether in that phone,
Yeah.
and they can put in whatever they want to put in.
Jag, I mean, I'm not being funny. My background is in a lot of interesting tech stuff, and some of my former staff members, when we were hunting predators, we sent them Amazon gift voucher links. You have won an Amazon gift voucher. Please click here, sign up here. Dunzo, you know. So yeah, and it's that easy. And
By the
that's
way,
from
Courtney, do you have spyware on your phone, or do you have any kind of tech person? I get all of my devices scanned at least once every 65 days just to make sure I haven't picked up anything. It might not be a bad idea for you to find someone
Well,
just to do a sweep of your
I
house,
would
just
start
to do a
doing
sweep
that.
of your.
If it
Yeah.
ain't, I would start doing that if it ain't too late.
It's not, listen to me. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, no matter when you put it in.
Yeah.
Just, I think it might be smart for you to get your stuff swept and make sure you get a full diagnostic report of everything that was found in, if it looks like anything, like all of that. People keep forgetting AI is being used heavy in a lot of these cover-ups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That might be a good idea.
I definitely would take that
In the past four
consideration.
years, I have found 10 different bugs. And that's crazy because I live a very quarantine life, which means the only way they got there was when I was taken into police custody or whoever I had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
They might have just wanted your phone so they could listen to the conversations that you had after.
Could be anything.
They already knew what you had. That's what I'm saying. They already knew what you had. Making a big deal about it was kind of crazy. There's something else going on here.
Mm-hmm. It definitely did.
well, there's definitely a massive mystery at play here. 100%. Okay. And all of you who are involved in this, obviously Jaguar and Courtney, I mean, Jaguar, we know how vigilant you are, but it's really time to, you know, get into that mindset, Courtney. Even things like the way you had your hands positioned caused a massive wave last time, right? And the internet is not, you can't slow down the internet, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a much different, you know, version of Courtney this evening, but you need to really be super aware that if you've effectively been handpicked by a puppet master behind the scenes, you need to keep, I would just be 24/7 live streaming yourself, if I'm being honest with you, man, because none of these stories ever have super awesome happy endings, and it's scary.
Yes.
Film all the time, even if you're not live. You know, when I first started really going heavy and knowing that they weren't going to stop coming for me, I would just do a video journal log that I kept in my phone of what happened this day, what happened that day, and just keep that and then take it and send it to someone that you know won't exploit it in any way, because you might need to have your own journal like Kim did.
Hmm.
I got one.
I can imagine.
You don't have to share it, but
Hmm.
just for your own protection. You
We
see how
definitely
easy
take it
it
out.
is for people to distort words.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just want to thank the side chat for being here tonight as well. And at this point, if we can all just give a little like and a little share, make sure you're all subscribed. Make sure you go to Jaguar's channel. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, supporting everyone on this mission.
And pray for
Okay.
Courtney on the 12th.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
In that first hearing, Courtney, did it pertain to alleged evidence against the two celebs?
Yes.
And do you think
Sure.
there's going to be further questioning on that subject on the 12th?
Of course, they, I'm not a fan of this. They bring me back for something.
Be grateful Trump just got elected.
He did his freedom of speech, and I was just so happy. We just did an analysis of it. He's going to end the censorship, he's saying.
Be glad Trump got elected, because a lot of Diddy's enemies are his enemies too. And a lot of Diddy's friends are also his enemies now too. You know, Trump is going to shake up what happens in this country these next 4 years. I hope everyone's ready. But for everyone who thinks Diddy's going to get a pardon from Trump, I truly doubt that, with that girl Andrea out running around now talking about a videotape with someone very presidential.
Mhm.
They were leaning into a lot of things. I'm going to tell you something right now. Donald Trump ain't going down with the Diddy shit. I'll tell you that right now. That's not going to happen. And anybody who bet against him, I feel sorry for them. That includes a lot of people that help support Kamala Harris. That might be your saving grace, Courtney. That might be your mother's grace. Your mother might have got that election won just for you.
Yeah.
People are asking what you guys think the point was of making sure the Kim Porter book was published. What was the point of that? What were they trying to achieve?
I'm telling you right now, it could be for nothing more than to poison the jury pool and to buy sympathy for the devil. Because
Wow.
none of that stuff really has anything to do with what he's being charged with. He's being charged with running a criminal enterprise. That has nothing to do with that woman's diary. She wasn't keeping a diary of all of the flesh traded and all of the children lost. She wasn't doing that. She would never. She was sharing
No.
her life story, so just in case something happened to her, someone would know where to look. And we all know where to look. He's the devil. He's in jail. Creates a lot of confusion, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And it makes a lot of people look bad for no reason at all, including Kim.
You're getting asked, Courtney, were you forced to publish this book or coerced in any way?
I wasn't forced, but I was always questioned when. So yes, I was forced.
Definitely coerced.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, and that's why I don't do the money. A lot of people think, oh, she's broke, she's this, she's that. The truth is, I'm worth a lot of money. I just couldn't tell you how. I don't be worried about it. I tell you at any given time that I want, if I choose to call my lawyer in Philadelphia and tell him that they owe me royalties, he can go and get me a $50,000 to $80,000 check right now. It's fine. It's sitting there. It'll be waiting for me when I get there. See, I am the money. I never sweated money. But the second that you put a monetary attachment to it, people stop taking it seriously. They do. No matter how good your intentions are. Well, why don't you sue for what happened to you? Because then it's going to become all about the money, and it's not going to be about the justice.
Right.
I'll worry about justice first. We'll deal with money later. And the truth is, the only thing I want is what people owe me. I just want what I'm owed. I've been robbed for years. I deserve to be paid. I did the work. That's why I stay away from money. I want people to know my intentions are pure. I'd rather eat out of a can of beans than eat caviar off the stomach of a baby.
Right. Or grapes.
People are asking, Jaguar, if you could expand on Ronnie Bowe and his story, because I watched it yesterday and it's fascinating.
The truth is, Ronnie Bowe is kind of caught in the same situation that Courtney's in right now. He's being drugged into a conspiracy story where he's the victim and he didn't report the crime. And it's all attached to something very silly and very trifling, and all to get him back in jail. And now Ronnie Bowe has finally come forward and told everyone what his cellmate R. Kelly told him. That the Jigga Man and the Diddler had sexual relation as a ritual to gain power and favor. I don't know how many times people got to hear that these men like to get together and copulate before they're willing to accept that they're getting together and copulate. They sodomites. These aren't gay people we're talking about. This has nothing to do with the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, the A, or the I, or the plus, and everybody else. This has nothing to do with sexuality. This has nothing to do with love. This is about domination, power, and blackmail at all costs. Because the only reason that man could have that much filth given to him in some anonymous manner in some way, with that much crap on it, because that's crap. And I ain't mad at you for not wanting to look at it. Probably to give you nightmares. You definitely couldn't play the lottery after seeing all that naked ass. Shit, I wouldn't have wanted to look at it either.
Jaguar, I've just had a message from a very brave woman who she's alleging that Diddy shot her in the face in the nightclub, and she's asked if she could come on right now and speak to you live.
You must be talking about my friend Natana Rubin.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can bring her on right now.
I just want to say, Jag, with speaking to Natana this week, she's one of the first human beings ever that's made me take a step back from myself and look at how quick I am to judge in certain situations with people. And I have never in my life ever had that, right? And it's not like I'm changing faith or religion, but it's like when you hear her speak, in her passion, and it was a moment last night for me. So I can't wait to speak to her.
God-fearing woman.
Hey, she's awesome. She is awesome. She is a really, 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 really great lady, and I'm really excited to be helping her with some of her projects. But here she is, everybody.
Hi,
hello,
everyone.
Natana. Hi.
Greetings. Hi, Sean. First and foremost, I haven't seen you yet. I mean, I've watched you, but I've not yet met you. My girl, Jag, I love you, baby. How you doing, honey?
Love
Courtney?
you. You look gorgeous.
Why, thank you. Why, this
How
whole
you
thing
doing?
together. I'm well. And you know, Ron, I love Ron. Sean, you did your big thing, as the young people say, with Ron. He's amazing.
Thank you, and we salute your spirit and your bravery. And for
Thank
the
you.
viewers who are tuned in right now, could you just briefly introduce yourself so they know a little bit about your backstory?
Absolutely. So I am Natana Rubin, aka the dopest nerd. I'm a true nerd to my heart, but I'm also a woman who 25 years ago sustained and survived a gunshot wound to the face at the hands of Sean Puffy Combs in Club New York on December 27th, 1999. I have fought the good fight for the past 25 years, telling everyone who would listen not to be persuaded or conned or fooled that he, in fact, shot me. I watched him and I watched Jamal Shine Barrow, who now wants to be honorable, fire their guns in that nightclub. I was struck in my face, and I was struck in my face by a 9mm hollow point bullet. I still have 9 bullet fragments in and around my face and head. I've developed a seizure disorder, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, social anxiety disorder, migraines, a laundry list of illnesses, a laundry list of medical issues, just for being a victim of a shooting. But there was another person who was shot as well, and he's my brother in Christ. His name is Julius Jones. And a lot of people don't talk about him, and that has bugged me forever. And I have to always call his name because he was shot in the shoulder by Shine. And so I am here for the good fight. I have to give so much love and respect to Jaguar. When I tell you the love that this woman has given me before I ever met her, she is my sister for life. And I'm not a crier, but I promise you, I tear up when I think about this strength, because this was my twin flame strength all along and I didn't even know it. I've walked a very lonely, arduous, difficult road. And trust me, when the powers that be have an agenda and they point their lasers at you because you won't be quiet and you won't be afraid, trust me, they'll stop at nothing. And they have. The only thing that saved me from their overt, just, straight away attempt at my life is because I won't stop talking. And trust me, I have recorded myself. I have full recitations of everything that took place. If I go, the airways will be flooded, and I mean it. And so I am eternally grateful for what you guys are willing to do, for the fact that you are willing to stand and listen to people and not jump to preconceived notions or follow what the mainstream media is willing to toe the line and let him get away with it. Because what is not lost on me is, had anybody listened to me 25 years ago, we would not be talking about little children who were, raped or molested, or whose lives were ruined, because they would have not had to endure what they endured if anybody listened to me. And like I said on that very first TikTok I did, for every single tear that I and my children had to cry, as well as my family, I am going to get $1 million in exchange for every one that I cried. I will not stop until he is under the jail, as they say in the hood, under the jail. And Jennifer Lopez, because she is 100% culpable. And I want you guys, so many people have challenged my integrity, called me a liar. The Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha, she's capping. These people have harassed me incessantly on the internet. I've been cyber stalked, gang stalked. 3 weeks ago, somebody stole the license plate off my car. Just nonsense, just all types of nonsense. But one thing I will not do, I will not disavow my grandmother, Vivian Amelia Mead, God rest her soul, and her best friend, Jean Smith, that told me when I was 5. People will come from far and wide to hear you speak. Baby, they got the right one today on the right day, and I got time. God has called me to this, and I will walk out my whole purpose in life, ensuring that this empire of Babylon is taken down. And anybody who wants to stand in the gap, well, so be it. Because my name is David, and I sure ain't scared of no Goliath. I got a sling and a stone, and I got a pocket full of rocks. Try me.
Hell yeah.
Natanya, you are such a powerful speaker.
Thank
Jaguar,
you.
why has Natanya's story been suppressed for so long? How have they got away with this?
Well, I would like to start with how her story was disacknowledged as reality and actual reality, but it made it all the way to NBC as a television show, an episode of SVU, Law and Order, 3 Dog Night, episode 9, season 12, which was replaced and now in that catalog with a new episode called Gray. I was an avid SVU watcher. And I'll never forget when I saw that episode. Kerry Washington was starring. Idris Elba was playing the role of Diddy. And I got upset because I thought to myself, they shot that woman that night. And they didn't even talk about that. And it was so obtuse. And I said, is she still alive? And I went and I checked, and they said that she was still alive. And I said, how is this on TV? And no one will acknowledge what happened to her. How is it an episode on Law and Order, one of the biggest crime shows in the world? And the real life crime is still not being acknowledged. And that was around the time when anytime someone would start talking about Diddy, oh, no one can talking about J-Lo. I'm like, after what they did to that woman, I don't want to hear anything about, I never stopped. I always thought about her. And they paid good money to make her truth unreal. So for people like Natanya, for people like me, to stand there in the face of constant disagreement and have the result to know that God is in control of all. Very few people make it through what this woman made it through. It was God that kept her here. Which is why I get so upset with people when they do the idol worship and the hero worship, because not even God can do that.
That's right.
Like the God you serve, when I think about the God that they talk about, because everyone keeps talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
That terrible Khaled album, God Did. When I heard it, I screamed.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I know the God you serve, and my God ain't had nothing to do with none of this foolishness.
Absolutely not.
You got going on. And it's weird because those of us who truly believe in the true source of all and the true power, we have no problem calling it out. We have no problem calling his name in Yeshua's name.
That's right.
Ashay. Asheo.
Asheo.
We're not ashamed to do it. Why can't none of these devil worshippers say, hey, I love Satan. That is my guy. They always want to put the word God on it to cover up. Why do y'all want to cover what y'all believe in? All of these years, y'all believe Puffy was never going to have to answer for what he did to this woman.
Mm-hmm.
But for God.
Right.
It's called devil talk. They try to devil talk to throw you off.
Let me tell you something, Courtney. From the first time I saw you, I had to go into my spirit because I'm a woman of major, major faith. And I'm an empath and I have a prophetic gift. I didn't ask for it. And trust me, there are many days that I like to take it off and leave it on the dresser when I go out. But you don't get to choose. You don't get to pick and choose. God selects you, and he doesn't call the qualified. He will qualify the called. And clearly, that is who he knew me to be. My jury was still out on you. I kept saying, what's going on? But then instantly, I could see. One thing that never left me is that I could see the innocence. And I said, this man has no idea what he's in the midst of. No,
Right.
I need you to look to the left and look to the right. And if they're not standing there proclaiming to worship the same God and honoring the same God in the spirit of your ancestors that you are, you better watch your back. Let me tell you something. They finesse you out of your existence. They come to you under the guise of friendship. And they can start out as one thing and turn immediately to something else. Protect your neck, as the young people say. You understand me, brother?
Yes,
You
man.
better get down on they say get down on your knees and pray, but there's an even deeper level of prayer called getting prostrate, getting on your face, laying on your belly, arms extended, face to the ground. And you better call on that God. You better call God and you better sacrifice and submit yourself unto him and say, Father God, whatever it is I'm in the midst of, whatever I've been entangled and ensnared in, I need you to direct my feet, my will, my way, my heart, my life, and my mind. Let my words be of your source. Be mindful of people who want you to act on their behalf. They will finesse you out of all that is good and righteous in your life. Be very careful. You hear me?
Yes.
A lot of people came out and had all their things to say. And I said, I see something different. I see something different here with him. And I wanted to talk to you. brother, don't take anything for granted. You hear me? I want you to live out your fullness of your life and actualize whatever you want to be. I don't care if you want to be a sweet streeper, the man who cleaned the toilets at Macy's, or the president someday. Watch your surroundings. Be very mindful of who you trust. Go back to something fundamental that your grandmother, your mother taught you. Get back to that gut. If you don't feel it in your stomach, it's not of God, because your gut and your brain are one. If it doesn't affect your stomach, if something in your stomach don't tighten a little or go queasy, I promise you, you are being misled. Then with your head and your heart. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear will understand what I'm talking about. I don't think you realize what you're being ensnared in. And I feel like somebody else is like Geppetto, manipulating strings behind the scenes, and you don't realize it. Be very mindful of what you say. I don't care if somebody calls you slow. You think deeply before you answer any question that you're asked. Your first question should be to yourself, why are they asking? How is this pertinent to them? Sit down, take your time, ask yourself that question, go through the answer in your mind, and then respond. Okay?
Yes.
Protect yourself, brother. You have a rough, arduous road ahead.
I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to see you too.
Thank you. I'm glad to be seen.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be
Who
here.
doesn't like looking at a miracle?
Thank you. I love my sister. When I tell you, so many people, and I said this the other night with Ron on the show, so many people send me, when I tell you, I get so many text messages of Jaguar saying, what happened about, what's up with Natanya Rubin? When I tell you, people were just like, I didn't know you knew Jaguar. I was like, I don't. But now I do. And when I tell you, we've had the purest conversation I've had, probably in my entire life, but most definitely in the last 25 years. The purest conversation. When you know you are speaking to someone who doesn't want anything from you, has no agenda, is not coming to con you, finesse you, play you, serve you up on a platter to someone else. I took a deep breath. Like I've been hanging on to this deep breath for 25 years. I promise. I breathed it out and through when I spoke to her. It took me to a place of peace that I had been searching for 25 years. Not feeling on guard. It was the first time I felt so secure and comfortable that I didn't have to be on. Watching my back, checking to see who it is, what's their ulterior motive. The woman's heart is pure. And those who don't know it, I don't care what you judge about delivery, because passion doesn't come across monotone. And people who can't recognize passion, it means perhaps you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, honey, I got to stop you because, it's so funny. People always talk about passion.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to church and you sit down, that man up on the dais, if he is speaking at the same tone,
that's right.
and
You gotta
volume,
leave.
if they don't walk out, they definitely
That's
not
right.
putting nothing in the plate, or they're going to sleep.
That's right.
We've gotten to the point where we become so desensitized and so dehumanized that we keep forgetting that inflection is life.
That's right.
See, that monotone voice that goes nowhere. It seems like it's non-threatening, but the truth is, it's not translating. It's the different repetitions of frequency that allow that sound to take hold. The more monotone something is, the easier it is for the person in the spirit to separate from it.
That's right.
They teach us how to be sheep.
Mm-hmm.
It's your job to know that you're not.
Some people go willingly. Some people go willingly. And here's one thing that's not lost on me. I have a very dear friend that always says, everybody ain't able. Everybody's not able to handle the reality of this existence we're living. What we were taught, eat food according to the food triangle, grains, rice, this, that, all. Listen, all that was a sham. Everything we thought we knew as good and basic and fundamental has been a sham. We have to deprogram ourselves and open up ourselves to the perspective of reprogramming to understand the truth. I tell people,
We are machines.
That's
we
right.
are machines.
That's right.
It says it in the Bible, train up a child in the way he should go.
And he will not depart from it.
No, because it's programming.
That's right.
Children are they're the first clone's progeny.
That's right.
It means of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So understand this. What we put in the earlier.
That's right.
The stronger it sticks, the stronger it holds.
That's
but there's another scripture that I love. Lean not into thine own understanding.
Mm-hmm.
God actually told us, don't believe what's in your mind.
Right.
Because when you lean on something, what are you doing? You're trusting it. When you lean on something, you're trusting that it will hold you up. You're putting your faith in that thing. So if God says, lean not, mean do not lean, do not trust, do not look for support from what you have going on in your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
That should make you look a little different in how you thinking. Because if everything in your head is a lie, where's the truth?
That's right.
Where's the truth in you?
And we have to be
everything. Your grandmama lied to you, and she lied to your mama, and then your mama lied to you, and then the great grandmama lied, and then you're lying to the baby, and then we come from a culture of lies.
Mm-hmm.
We are not honest about ourselves. We're not honest about our families. We're not. The truth is, if most women were honest about motherhood, 75% of most women would tell you they would have skipped it.
That's not a lie. And when you are willing to break the mold of everything that you were taught, you get ostracized. I talked about it on the show the other day. I don't beat children. I don't believe in it. I will not lay my hands on my children because the world is going to beat them anyway when they get out there. I was chosen by God for these particular children to nourish, to guide, to love, to teach, to usher them up into adulthood. What do I
You gotta want that, though.
Hitting you.
Most women have children to claim a relationship, to claim status, to claim financial gain, whether if it's from the state or through marriage. There's a lot of women that use motherhood. Not every mother is a mother.
But here's the deal. There's other ones who come into it because they believe the fairy tale that you're going to meet this Prince Charming. He's going to come, kiss you, wake you up from the sleep world. He's going to ride off on the horse with you into, Never Land, and everything will be like a fairy tale. And so
then ever after happens, after.
Right.
And I was just talking about this the other day. And that's the problem that I have with Disney, with all of these false concepts that they're placing into children's mind. And we're not even seeing that it's ooming lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that movie, Lady and the Tramp. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I detest Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see that we're going wrong from the title.
Well, I think people have been forced into a mentality of whenever anything comes with an authoritative voice, it is speaking fact. And that is not true. Sometimes people come with an authoritative voice or posture or position, and they are just there to continue the programming. And oftentimes, whenever you push against that, you are considered the rebel rouser, the rebel, the troublemaker, the whatever. Our history is full of a lot of troublemakers who were the people that changed the course of life, who shifted the paradigm and made society at least have an attempt at something greater. And if I have to be aligned with those types of things, then I'm willing to.
The reason why I brought that up is because as we're talking, I'm thinking about Justin Bieber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Bieber's in my mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard him tell the story of how he didn't want to go to Hollywood, and his mother convinced him to.
Because people are living vicariously through their children. And whatever it was that they were unable to attempt and achieve in their own life, they see their children as an extension of their right and ability to attain that. And so if your kid is cute and aesthetically pleasing to society and has a nice voice, they then say, oh, you're my meal ticket to what I wanted that I wasn't able to get. And a lot of people are using they're commodifying their children. and they're using their children to attain that which they weren't able to attain themselves, whether through lack of talent or lack of opportunity or access to it. And they're willing to stop at nothing. And it's unfortunate because a lot of innocent souls are lost in the interim. And it's very unfortunate.
I never thought I'd see another Tevin Campbell until I saw Justin Bieber.
And this must be a heck of a time for him right now, given everything that has just taken place.
And then Quincy just passed away. I'm
That's
curious
what I
to
mean.
see what this is going to kick up for him.
Yep. And here's the long and short of it. All of these topics and all of these stories have been out forever. I mean, who among us can act like we never heard the whispers or never saw the speculation or the conjecture that something is amiss in this connection or in this relationship? We've all seen those video footage when he was like, oh, I got custody of him for 48 hours and we can't discuss what we're going to do. Like, what?
No, he said Usher gave him custody.
Exactly. But
for 48 hours because Usher
him.
had custody of Justin just the way Diddy had custody of him.
It's just really unfortunate. And you know, I saw recently, and a lot of people have to be held into account. I recently saw a video footage of Justin Bieber in a old deposition. He still looked like he was a teenager, maybe I would say 17. And someone was questioning him really, really intently. And I remembered that scenario from my own depositions with Puffy. I remember it. And the other, I don't know if it was a federal agent or an attorney questioning him. Many people don't understand the dichotomy of what deposition is. They think it's just an informal meeting to get you to the court case. Oh no, that is the case. You're in court in that deposition. And so the other person was asking him questions. He was like, I'm confused. Is this a deposition or an interview? And I'm thinking to myself, and his attorneys are like, what are you asking for? And I was like, look at this charade. I knew it to be a charade. I had gone through it. My case ran on for 12 years. I knew it to be a charade. I was like, somebody was trying to save him back then. Somebody was trying to save him. But he was
trying to get away. A lot of these kids have tried to get away.
Whatever was going on, he believed his attorney. He was being finessed by his attorney. And he believed that his attorney was on his side. I could listen to the deposition questionings, and I knew whoever was questioning him was attempting to save him. But because he believed his attorney with all the histrionics, he kept going the way of his attorney. And look what it is.
Tory Lanez did the same thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, ladies. I'm just going to put a QR code up on the screen, which is Natania's support link. So if anyone wants to support her, there's a link on the screen. If you're in the UK, you might have a bit of a problem, but as of this weekend, we will have that resolved for Natania. It's the same one from the night before, but we are getting a more universal support method and a whole bunch of new places for Natania to be supported, put her content out, inspire. Because honestly, if you've made me stop and think last night, you're going to have an incredible impact on thousands and thousands of people. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the rise of Natania. Like, I am so here for it, you know. So anyone who wants to support, who can actually use this in a country where this CashApp still exists, please do so. Apologies for interrupting, ladies. Welcome, Lionel.
And Natania, I'd like to introduce you to Lionel. Lionel is an ex-prosecutor, and him and his wife do tremendous work exposing the monsters behind the human transportation of kids. So he's got his own channel and he's doing some great work over there.
You know, I've got to tell you something. First of all, I'm writing down notes and I'm going crazy trying to keep track of this. Natania, I'm a prosecutor, or was a prosecutor, and I have never. I wish I could remind people of things. The Constitution of the United States talks about the rights of the accused. There is no such thing as a right of the victim. That's right. Are given this titular kind of reference to due process. Whenever I had a case, especially it was somebody who's younger, I always said, meet me in the courtroom before the trial. Just so that you walk in and say, oh, okay, you're going to be coming in here. There are going to be people here. Because when you walk in, I have seen this. They take a little kid, or I don't care if you're 50 years old, and you walk into, they've never been been in a courtroom, and normally felonies and federal, it's big. It's like a church and a cathedral, and you don't even know where people are, and you look scared. You look crazy because you've never. You say, where do I go? Nobody even has a decency to say, no, here, have a seat. Or so you want to at least demand, if anybody ever goes to court, demand that you see that courtroom before you go there. Where are you going to go? How are you going to? Who is going to assist you? How many times have you heard, and I've seen this, where a person goes to trial and they drop the case or the person pleads and the victim never finds out, or the person is bonded out and the victim's never told? Because once the victim, they always say, if you see something, say something. My ass. And then when you do it, and you're forgotten, and you're just, because the prosecutor is overwhelmed, he doesn't have the cases. And if you call up and say, what's happening with my case, they should have court liaisons. They should have social workers, especially with children, like a guardian ad litem, to at least help you through this. Because not only do you go through, and listen, when somebody says, I'm afraid of going to court. You damn right you're afraid of going to court. It's the worst. It's insane. And these jurors are everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid. Whenever I could pick a jury and I would do voir dire, the first time I would go to somebody, I would say, Mr. Atwood, I noticed you're here. Thank you very much. Mr. Atwood, when you received your jury summons in the mail, what did you think? Did you open up and say, what the heck is this? Is this a tax notice? Oh, God! And you dropped it, and because you did, and people would laugh because of the tension of the courtroom. It's the worst. And you have to tell people, you have to tell witnesses, if they're asking you a question, you're my witness. Don't answer the question till you look at me. If I'm going to object, don't answer them.
That's right.
And in a deposition, here is a word: yes, no, I don't know.
No call. Yep.
It is not a trial. They use it to lock you in. One of the best depositions ever is that fellow who, I'm thinking about your monetization, that dude who was offed. He never said anything. It was fantastic. That's what I want. That was perfect. I didn't learn a thing. Because remember something, the lawyer, if I'm your lawyer, if I'm the plaintiff lawyer, I don't want you in a deposition. You're my client. I can call you anytime I want. It's their only chance to get you.
That's right.
And you set the tone. You look at them. And I used to tell clients, if you don't like looking people in the eye, you look right here between the eye, right here. They can't tell the difference. You will scare the hell out of them, but you're looking right here, and they don't know that. And don't ever be afraid. Don't fiddle. Just sit there, wait, think about it. You're the worst witness. You want them to walk out of that room and say, we got to settle this thing. We got to settle this. This one's, we're dead. Does anybody tell you that? No.
Of course.
But on TV, they tell you, if you've been injured, call me. Have you been injured? Oh, I've been injured. Okay, great. You're a number. There you go. It's horrible what we do, because it's just like having a doctor with a bad bedside manner. These are human beings. I'm telling you.
Lionel, from your legal perspective,
I'm talking, damn it. I'm talking that word.
What's it going to take? What's it going to take, Lionel, from your perspective, your experience, for J-Lo and Diddy to be held accountable for the horrors of what Natana has been through?
Well, I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to be evasive. I don't know the facts of the case or the history of what's been done. I have
Natana can tell you the facts of the case.
So,
no.
Guys,
I'll tell you guys something really good.
I'll be right back.
Let me ask you, has lawsuit ever been, have you ever filed suit?
Yes, I filed suit. I won in a civil trial and all of that. But here's something that I want all of you guys to know. So there are a lot of people who have tried to malign my integrity for the past 25 years. And I tell you, God has a funny way of putting you where he needs you to be, or bringing your attention to something when you least expect it. I have a moderator on my channel. I call her, I'm the dopest nerd. I call her the dopest mod. She's phenomenal. She always sends me things. She's the one that sent me the email to get in touch with Jaguar. She also sent me something this morning to look at a video. I look at the video, and in the video, the content creator is showing a snippet of another video, but it's small, and the name of the content creator in the smaller video is half cut off. But when I saw the word, I said, that looks like the word proffer. So I searched proffer. The channel is called The Proffer. He interviews the two cops who were the police officers that dealt with my case, the shooting in the nightclub. They confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that not only did I, but almost every one of the witnesses said, yes, we saw Puffy fire that gun and Shine. They even said something I had never heard before. When Shine ran out of the club, I knew he had ran out of the club first and ran directly into a cop. They said his gun was still warm to touch. Watch that video, The Proffer. It's called The Proffer NYPD officers. Put in The Proffer and NYPD. It'll come up. They also confirmed that there was a gentleman who drove escorts. He was sitting in his car when the police officers were chasing the navigator that Puffy and J-Lo and Wolf, the bodyguard, and the driver were fleeing in. A woman's hand came out of the window and threw her gun out. She threw the gun on top of it landed on top of his car. This man took the gun because the cops in the SUV continued, and he gave it to his boss, and the boss turned it into the police. That was the gun J-Lo threw out the window. She's guilty. When I read the law, statute of limitations and everything, not only does it say when the crime occurs, the date from the time that the crime occurs or is discovered. So it is now discovered. It is now on the record. J-Lo, and they made this video 3 months ago. So now that it's been discovered, we are well within the statute of limitations for her action. Bring her back. Not the least of which is she was allowed to leave. If you go you're a prosecutor, you know, in any inner city town or suburb or country city, if you get caught with a gun in the car and there's 4 people in the car, if no one says this gun is mine, the gun is everybody's. But mysteriously, they allowed J-Lo to walk away. Oh, why? I can tell you there's tons of jails right now where some guy was in college, came home for the weekend, hung out with his cousin who was of a different ilk, and his whole life was wiped away because he's sitting in jail because of something he had nothing to do. As much as I say I will fight until Puffy pays the price, I will fight until J-Lo pays the price. And like I say every time, come to the front of the class, Jennifer Lopez. You got some explaining to do. You gonna see me again in a court of law or wherever. We are going to deal with this. You will be brought into account. I will not let you slide. She's not only defrauded me, it's come out throughout this year after she shoved that hideous video and movie on everybody, and everybody started coming out and speaking about her. A whole bunch of women came out and said, well, all of those songs that were hits, those are not J-Lo's voices. I'm singing that song. Even till women actually sung the song. And there's a recording of J-Lo in the studio trying to sing something, and she sounds like, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was terrible. Because she didn't sing the songs. She's been stealing the songs of Black women forever. Most notably, Ashanti, who had to come out and say, most of those hits, that's me. When you listen to it and you're familiar with Ashanti's voice, you're like, wait a minute, that is Ashanti. This woman has been manipulating people. And so what it shows is a propensity for fraud, because you have filed a copyright application and are collecting royalties, asserting that this is your intellectual property and your work, and it's not. And what I'm trying to show and illustrate to people is this is a pattern of behavior, of fraudulent behavior. She went into the grand jury when this occurred and lied. She swore, I didn't see anything, I don't know, whatever. She lied. It is a crime. A prosecutor sitting right here. It is a crime to lie to the grand jury. She's gotten away with too much for too long, and I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. Pull up the video, The Proffer with the NYPD. Their names is Sean. I think his name was Sean. I have it right here. Joe Sweeney and Artie Cadigan. And I remember Cadigan's name They even talk about, remember I mentioned the hip hop cop to you, Ron? They even talk about that he was a shady cop and they threw him out of the unit because he handed Puffy a gun while he was in the cell. Excuse me, not a gun, a phone. He handed Puffy a phone while he was in the cell and they caught him on video and threw him out of the unit. They even say they caught him another time. The cop was going somewhere. He was passing somewhere. Jay-Z and Beyonce was coming out. He said he did a turn to avoid the crowd. He stood to the side. The hip hop cop is escorting Jay-Z and Beyonce. Woo-hoo! He was instrumental in my case being thrown. There's a lot of shady dealings here. These are two retired NYPD detectives that have no dog in the fight, but for the fact that they were on duty that night and the case was assigned to them in the Midtown South. I watched this morning. Phenomenal. They even talk everything. They vindicated me in everything. Even what I said about Scar. When I said, while he was a man of the street and ill repute, he literally was full of charisma and I would have phenomenal conversations with him. The two cops said, it's hard not to like this guy. He was phenomenal. We had great conversations with him. Every single thing I've said has been vindicated. When I tell you God saved me for a time such as this, what a glorious day. What a glorious day. I will have my recompense. And not just me, all of the victims. Because like I said, had someone listened to me and taken me serious, 24 years worth of victims would have not had to suffer. A UCLA coach would have not had to be hit in the head with a kettlebell. All of these children that are alleged to be victims of his would not have had to endure that indignation. All of the women who were beat and Cassie wouldn't have had to been kicked in the face on video. That wears and eats away at me. And if God called me to stand in the gap for them and be a champion to advocate for people who perceive themselves unable to stand before their accusers and cry aloud and spare not, they got the right one, baby.
Can I just ask, Lionel, right? Metaphorically speaking, of course, in your professional opinion, how could this case have gone the way it did without corruption within the police force being part of this heavily? I mean,
I could not. First of all, I wouldn't, not because I'm trying to be cheeky here, I wouldn't even venture a guess on that one because I know absolutely nothing about the facts of this case. But what I will tell you is if we had a special show called People Who Feel Like Either They Were Ignored, Not Listened to, There's No Justice, it would be endless. Let me ask you this question. What do you really want? What is really your goal? We give money because that's the only thing available. We can't take away. I can't go in and ablate your memory and your bad. I can't do that. So the only thing we have is money, injunctions, things like that.
No,
if you think about it, do you know what you want, Natanya?
Absolutely. I want Sean Puffy Combs. I want a charge added in this federal RICO for the shooting of me and for Shine shooting Jamal Bat. Well, Shine he paid his debt to society on a state level. But I want J-Lo to be found guilty, prosecuted and found guilty for bringing the gun in the club, for passing it to him, and him shooting me. I want him to be found guilty for shooting me. I don't care about the money. I want my justice. I want my justice.
That's what I was going to say. People talk about justice, and I have never been able to explain what justice is. But I do it this way. Justice is that thing that you don't have. Mm-hmm. It's that thing you say, like when somebody, the people never feel, if I say here's $1 million, he's in jail, people use the word closure. They use a lot of terms. Justice is the feeling you feel like you've been screwed. It's like, what about me? There is a feeling of indifference. Do I not matter? And I hate to bring race into this and all this, but there's this sense of the white man, the black man, the woman. When it comes down to it, money, it's a class system. You see, Natanya, you're not in their class. I'm not in their class. They're different. They live in a different world. They live there. They're protected. So not to, I don't want to destroy this case. If I was in a office with you, I could ask you questions.
Mhm.
Have you been to, do you have a prosecutor assigned? Is this
Listen,
case open?
This happened,
Have
this happened in 1999. I was the star witness in the trial. I said irrefutably, I got shot in my nose. By the grace of God, I look this good. I got shot in my nose. I was watching them when they fired the gun. I keep telling people, like I said in the trial, I didn't get shot in my side, my back, nothing. I got shot smack dab between my eyes. I was watching them when they fired that gun. I watched Puffy and I watched Shine. The muzzle flash went off like this. Pow, pow. Shine's was slightly higher. Puffy's was lower. Shine was closer to the bar. I was further away from the bar. Shine shot the guy standing right next to the bar. Puffy shot me in my face. I watched them. And so help me God, I've closed my eyes 1,000,000 times since then and been shot 1,000,000 times more. I will not ever let it go. Some people say, you recited so well, because this is the only case that this is a TV case that they watch 1 in 1,000,000. This is my case. This is my 9 bullet fragments that still exist in my face. This is me with all type of issues. This is me now with a missing tooth because the bullet that was over here got on the nerve in my tooth and caused me to lose the tooth and caused me major pain because it shifted. Because of course you gain weight over years. This is my trauma. This is my children having to look over their shoulder. These are my sons having to not go here and not go there because, well, we got to watch out. I don't know if somebody's going to be there waiting for us. Whatever. And this is them having to live in a household with a mother who is overzealously protective instead of letting them be able to run free. It doesn't matter to other people because it's just another video that they're going to switch to. Another 3-second attention span and move on. But this is my life. And so help me God, before I meet my maker, I will face them again in a court of law and they will give me my recompense. And I mean that.
I mean,
to the RICO.
Yeah, Natana, I mean, you this whole case, I mean, obviously you're coming into this fairly blind, Lionel, on this one. This whole case reeks of corruption, abuse of power, celebrity, and of course, what we spoke about yesterday is you get the legal response you can afford. Right. Which is something that you hear a lot about American justice system, but the harassment, the control even of your friends and family, and again, Natana, this is day 3 of you having to relive this now. So I'm not really saying this for a response from you. We don't need convincing. I'm just letting Lionel know where we're at because I think 3 days in a row, that's I don't want you having. How's your head today?
My head was fine today. You know what I had to do? So, I've been having a perpetual headache for the last few days.
Correct.
Shungite. You know what shungite is? Shungite is a stone. It's a mineral. And it protects you against the EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Because my head was hurting so bad, I stuck the shungite in my ponytail and I forgot. And I went to sleep like that. And everything. When I tell you, I felt so alive and so free and so healthy. I said, wow.
Yeah, put a one in the side chat if you just googled shungite and let us know about that. Jag, welcome back. Lionel, Jaguar Lionel, I don't know, I think you guys maybe met each other last time.
Lionel is my love.
Oh yes. Are you kidding? I got to say something right now. This is the I'm trying to calm down here because there's so much I want to say. Natana, I had a case years ago with a man. I represent a woman, but a man was shot 5 times in the head. And they kept saying 5 times in the head. And when we said the word head, I said, I don't like this head. Now, this woman was acquitted ultimately. And I said, we have to get away from this. Because when people said the word head, they think JFK, they think of all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I use the word face. He was shot in the face because he was shot here. Mm-hmm. It was when you have a smaller caliber bullet that is bouncing around and you're looking, not only was God looking at you, there are gods. This is a pantheistic view. Mm-hmm. This is why they use smaller. I don't know the caliber or anything about that, but normally smaller caliber bullets for assassination. When President Trump went like this, and they started calling it was the ear, some called it a head. You were shot in the head. I don't care what anybody says to you. You weren't shot in the nose, you were shot in the head.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see this, when you say that's like, for example, I broke versus I fractured, I hit versus I shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Words mean a lot.
Right.
Sometimes it's funny. Police officers always do this. They speak in this cop talk and whatever. I'm not coaching a witness, but I want people to understand something. You see, everybody thinks they know about gunshots. Everybody, because they watch TV.
Yeah.
It's not what you think. So many people would say, like, Ronald Reagan didn't know he was hit. He's shot in the lung. He didn't even know because adrenaline, cortisol, and you're spinning around. It's not what people think.
That's
And
right.
one of the things is that when people say, how do you remember this? I got to tell you something about memory. Most of the time, Natanya and Jaguar, we don't remember things. We remember the last time we talked about it. And whenever I would talk to a victim, they would tell a story. And every time they would tell the story, they would look at me. Imagine the die, like the 5 die. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the middle. As they're looking at me, depending upon what they remembered, the sound, the date, whatever it was, they would look up or look down, and they would access it. Like if I ask you right now, think of the smell of garlic frying in olive oil. Can you smell it? No, you don't. You remember smelling it. But you can smell it. No, you're not. It's over here. I don't know where it is. It's someplace. So when people would recount something, they would say, it was a Tuesday. I walked in and I smelled burning coffee. I forgot to take and they're telling you stuff and I heard the clock tick and it was raining and that damn dog was barking. And then 6 months later, what happened? I walked in, the coffee pot, the dog, they remember everything. We forget a lot of things. We forget kind of where's our keys. But when you have a singular moment like this, it burns into your mind. And with a clarity, and think about this. This is a defense mechanism. This is what nature puts in. So when you tell the story, what you just read, what your version of that story, I've said, that's it. When you talk about where things were, who was standing where, this is a story that is locked in your brain. And thank God it's a story that's there. This is something that people don't understand. Also, PTSD is something. PTSD is defined as a natural reaction to an unnatural situation. You're supposed to not say, oh, well. And when they were, I'm going to bring up Trump, when Trump was saying, well, I wore a badge, and they were laughing at him. They were saying, maybe it was glass. You don't walk away from that. You don't just sit there because you think, what if one little moment, and then you say, am I special? Am I blessed? Some people have had religious experiences. They have left and they've devoted themselves to charity. What you went through was an event that people, Natanya, in war don't go through. I know people have been in Vietnam for a year. They didn't even see the enemy, thank God. You're not supposed to be in combat in New York. This isn't supposed to happen to you.
Right.
I mean, this is beyond, this is the post. This is what victims feel like. Women who are, I don't want to use the wrong word, who were attacked or people. It's later. And the thing about it is the most horrible is the fact that you are not in control. They told you, Natanya, we don't care. On this day, we're going to do this to you. We're going to do this to you. And then when you see justice, we're going to say no, because we're different. And you say, I want to be heard. I will not be ignored. Use a line from Fatal Attraction. I want you to pay attention to me. And I want you to act like I'm the most important thing in the world. I never did anything. I'm innocent. This is a no-brainer. What are you doing? I didn't do anything. You're supposed to protect me.
That's right.
Yeah. Jaguar, you were wanting to interrupt. Yeah.
I just wanted to interject on what Lionel is saying to make sure that everyone listening gets this picture. If your car is stolen and you go to the police to report your car, they don't ask you, well, are you sure you really wanted that car? You parked in that neighborhood.
Right.
I mean, are you paid up on your car? Are you late on your car note? Like, people don't ask these kinds of questions with your average crime. But when it comes to intrapersonal crimes, it's different. Are you sure you didn't want what happened to you? I don't know how many times I've heard, so-called crisis counselors. You go into a hospital and you do a grape kit. It is one of the most disrespectful processes ever,
Oh
because
dear
while
God.
they're sitting there collecting the evidence of what happened to you, you have the counselor saying, now, if you go forward, the
Mhm.
testimony, it's going to be terrible. They're going to do this to you. Are you sure you really want to press charges? Meanwhile, they're collecting the evidence of what happened to you for the court case.
That's right.
And they're still asking you, do you want to go to court? Why would that be said in that moment? Because in that moment, here it is. It happened to me. You're here. You got the evidence. Take it to court. Put these guys away. And there's still a question of whether or not that evidence is going to be good enough.
You're
But then again, you're never going to hear the story about a woman, by the way, who faked it. Now you're not. I know this is terrible, but but
Because
that
those
happens
women
too.
are the worst.
Let me tell you something. It's one of those things. There's nothing better than, I swear to you, when there is justice in the courtroom. I don't want to go into the old stories about that, but when you have children, this is really something. And there's a question people ask is there a minimum age where people can where a child can testify? And their answer is no, if a child can communicate. And I got to tell you one really quick story. There's no, I've never seen a Bible in a courtroom. Never. It's always, do you swear or affirm? You don't need a Bible. But whenever you have a child, you always have to ask a child witness, do they understand what this means? This is the one that was the greatest ever. The judge says, now, little Jimmy, yes. Do you know what a promise is? He says, yes. A promise is like a mirror. We can't break it. And we thought, that's it. That's it. They said, that's it. We've entered a plea. That's it. Done. Finished. There's also nothing better than when the person says, and you see the person in the court today, when I've seen them get up, walk over, and do this. Oh my God. One of the most incredible moments in American juridical history. There was this terrible case, Emmett Till. Remember this? Obviously. His uncle, grandfather, somebody who was the only person there who saw these folks come to get him, whether he whistled at the white woman, who knows? But this man, this sharecropper, uneducated, wearing bib overalls, they asked him, and this man in Mississippi, whatever, stood up in a courtroom and pointed out he was signing his death penalty. And you know what he said? You know what his identification was? And he stood up and he said, Dar he. D-A-R, he. That's it. And they said, oh, he could have been Cary Grant. There are these moments when things happen. Just because something happened doesn't mean you can prove it. Sean, what did you have breakfast today? Yeah. Can you prove it? What'd you have to eat? Can you prove it? Anybody see it? I don't know. Why would you lie? Well, can you prove it? No, I can't prove it. I don't know. Sometimes you could say, I believe him because it's just the way he says it. I believe him. Why would I lie? We need to revamp everything. You also said, please cut me off, Sean, if I'm saying too much. You mentioned kids. This is the thing which, and by the way, Natana, I want to hug you. When you said, I'm not going to hit a kid, I will never understand that. I will never understand that. I used to tell people, I was a talk radio host for a long time. And whenever February, there was a slow day, they said, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I said, oh, simple. Ask whether spanking is right or wrong. People go crazy. People say, my daddy hit me. I'll tell you what, it was good enough for my daddy. Spared the right on the child. I'm okay. Say, well, okay, well, about that. And people feel like if they were to say that they were spanked, they're saying something bad about their parents. Meanwhile, the guy's walking around like this for the rest of his life. You should never hear it. Do you know that on death row? On death row, I can't go in. If somebody throws his food, a man that we're going to execute, I can't spank him. I can't spank somebody on death row, but I can spank a little kid who doesn't understand something. And let me say one more thing about spanking while we're this freaks me out. when you're a kid sometimes and you get mixed messages, you can really screw people up. You know, they talk about your fanny, your fanny. And of course, Sean, in your neck of the woods, and you too, Ron, that word means something completely different. But here it means the hind end, the butt, whatever it is. And they always think it's easy. It's no big deal. It's innocent. There are parts of the brain. That innervate the same places around the genital urinary perianal area. Make a long story short, if you hit a child and they receive a feeling of, wait a minute, what was that? Not that it's arousal, it's confusion. And you're yelling at them. And there's this classic Pavlovian. This is Pavlov. You're pairing this and this and this. You're hitting them. They may get a strange, you might be creating a circuitry that nobody ever thinks about. Leave kids alone. It's like spanking a dog when you come home and he does something on the rug. Say, what are you doing? Dog doesn't know what the hell you're doing. It's the same thing with a child. Thank you for saying that. Leave kids alone. Do like my parents did. Mental cruelty.
What you were referring to is conditioned response. I was a psych major. You associate now this conduct with this reaction. And so that becomes a loop in their mind for everything.
But I'm doing something which may, at a certain age, cause a weird form of arousal, because if you don't think this area is important, if I'm in the subway and I were to, they call it frottage. I think you know about that, John. If I were to rub up against a woman's posterior, you can't say, oh, that's not sexual, because that's not. Oh, yes, it is. Well, if it is with an adult, it is with a child. You see, we think that kids are so, and you also said something about films. I got to tell you this. Were any of you ever just terrified the first time you saw a Bambi? Did you ever think to yourself, what the hell is going on here? This is Walt Disney? I remember I saw Old Yeller with my father. Old Yeller.
Traumatizing.
Come on, Paul. He goes, well, we're going yonder, get my gun, Paul. Paul, don't shoot Yeller. And I said, excuse me, Dad, yeah. Why don't they take the dog to the vet? I remember as a time. What are they doing? They're not going to kill the dog, are they? Yeah. The dog's sick.
Yeah. In the world between where both of you just were, I just wanted to throw it out for some of the other geeks. There's a word that puts all of this into perspective. It's called dopamine.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's also neuroreceptors.
Exactly. Right. So even in trauma, if dopamine attaches, it can create a longing for something that wasn't there before.
Well, put it this way. When you get a rush and you don't get addicted to the substance, you get a reaction to the dopamine surge. That's that wonderful thing. That's why if you take a really good, something really serious, meth, like one time, and your brain says, I like that. Let's do that again. And it's very natural. But look at children again, how we as adults put them through these things, and we think that they're resilient. We think they're little people, and they're not. So this, every time I listen to the show, Sean, you kill me. You absolutely kill me, because there's like 50 million different things, and you sit there, you evil genius, just taking it all in. I expend myself. I can't sleep for 6 hours. Thank God I met Jaguar. Now my new best friend is Natana. Ron, I'm not so sure about. Ron's another story. But anyway, but still.
Yes.
One more thing before I forget.
He's intimidated by the hair. He's intimidated by the hair. Okay, it happens all the time.
This is the version of the Russell Tribunal in the 60s. Bertrand Russell and Sartre wanted to go around the world to put together a citizens tribunal to find out the sources and the problems associated with the Vietnam War. We don't need, this is the people's grand jury. Mm-hmm. You're seeing this right now. This is going to go all over the place. See, in the old days before social media, Natana, your case would be like, who? Natana, who? Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody, maybe Geraldo, maybe New York Post or somebody, maybe the Inquirer. Short of that, nobody's going to hear from you. Well, they're hearing from you now. We are in charge of this. I'm not going to go to some grand jury to say, please validate my case. No, we'll create so much political pressure, you'll have to do something. Like that rat bastard Gascon in LA, who by the way was thrown out, but all of a sudden he says, "Hey, I think we should look at these Menendez brothers." Yeah, because you're 30 points behind you, schmuck. They all of a sudden they care about him. All of a sudden they worry about him. And I mean, I can't believe this. And those kids, those were kids. They have no defense. And one more thing. Hang on, Sean. Let me get a word in here. Damn it, let me talk. We have this thing in this country called the insanity defense. I hate it. The insanity defense means that you did not have the ability to detect the difference between right and wrong. Well, the idea is that people do have the ability. What if you're on a subway platform, John or Jaguar or Natana, and you have voices that say, push somebody. And you say, but I don't want to. Push them. And you do it. You knew right from wrong, but you were in a psychotic view. Guess what? There's no insanity defense. None. And there's no defense for the Menendez brothers. I'm sorry.
Can I say something, Lionel? I agree with you absolutely, except for in cases of demonic possession.
Except for that?
Because demonic possession is exactly that. Something jumped inside of you and you let it. But see, there's still a choice there.
I think you're upset, Natana. I think she's disgusted with you. She got up and disrupted. I got to tell you something too. Just fill me in. I take it.
No,
this is what you look like, Jaguar. You're sitting there. You have a large bespectacled person behind you, and
Courtney.
you're sitting like this, like you're in the like on a train to
grand jury,
Hooterville.
grand jury attendee Courtney Burgess.
Listen to me.
behind
I'm
her.
working on the Pony
This was
Express
Courtney the
today.
whole
I'm
time. This was
delivering
Courtney.
packages.
This was Courtney like this. Mm-hmm. I know. Courtney. And then Ron was saying, excuse me, did you put the Gmail in the...
Oh!
Well,
Body
guys,
damn.
as much as I would love to say, I came back
cloud.
to say an
cloud.
official goodbye.
I don't know.
I always
thank
love a
you.
chance with my Lionel. And thank you, my Roro and Sean. I can't wait to open this. And
Thank you.
I'm going to leave my girl Natanya here because I want people talking more
where you going?
about this. I agree. I got to go and do a thing.
Okay,
But call me after.
I will.
Thank you, Jaguar.
I think you're enough to close this one out today. I want to get back in the comments because the comments they got stuff going on down in
Oh,
there. And
it's been on
I
fire.
don't know. Are we still at 9K in the chat?
Look at you,
13,
numbers.
almost 13
9K.
across all platforms.
Oh wow! We keep getting to the 13. No, you guys are in great hands, and I really loved what I heard. You know, the conversation between Natanya and Lionel, and this woman can never speak enough, and we can never listen enough. So you call me after, and you guys let me know what's going on. Today was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the 12th is going to bring.
So am I. So
And on that note, I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jaguar.
Thanks, Jag.
Lionel, you raised a very important point about the amount of
It's
pressure.
about time.
The amount of pressure and publicity on a case to get it reopened. So what is it going to take for Natanya to get the justice she deserves? What advice do you have? What pressure can be put on? What legal strategies can she use? We've got to focus on how we can get that pressure up there so Natanya gets this justice.
Well, I again, not just jumping into it at the last minute, because there's nothing worse than somebody who starts making questions. You know, it's like doctors who will try to diagnose on a radio show or on the phone. Not a good idea. But the best thing to do is, there are people right now. You want this reaction, Sean? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, find out what about that's all, and then follow up with this, and then whatever I would suggest that you keep a copy of this, and the next time you go to any prosecutor, you can say, by the way, I'd like to leave you a URL if I could. You might want to watch this show, because think about This is all over the world. And there's nothing worse than a prosecutor or anybody who says, oh, for Christ's sake, what is this? She's on what? She's on the Sean Atwood show. What the hell is that? Why am I getting calls? Why am I getting calls? Let's get to the bottom of this. That's the best way. Because if everything's kosher, let somebody explain it. That's all. Because Natana was like, just hear her out. Hear her story. That's all. Let me tell you something. This case, I got to tell you this much. You remember this, Natana. And I'm older than all you folks. So this is the best I can do. There is a, how do I say this? There was a guy years ago. Hannibal, was it Hannibal Burris? He was a comedian. I think he was in Philly. I think we talked about this last time.
Yep.
And Bill Cosby, for years, women had gone and talked about this. He put something in my drink. He attacked me this. Well, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, file after file. Women, I don't know the number, 5, 10, hundreds, who knows? Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Then what happened? In an obscure Philly comedy club, this guy's talking. Somebody has a phone. They put it up online and they said, what about Bill Cosby? And that was it. That was it. He ends up in prison and it was the end of everything. Now, why did it take that long? I have no idea. But it happened. The Menendez brothers are going to be out because of Netflix. Mm-hmm. Same facts of the case. Same everything. It's on Netflix and people are saying, yeah, I think we should look into this. So let us hope that justice will be accelerated by virtue of you being here with us right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I pray that that is exactly what happens. I know an ant can move a mountain if you just give him enough time. I think 25 years is ample time. I've been meticulously moving grains of sand and silt and dirt and sedentary rock. And now I have a mountain over here and I'm ready to go.
Did you see, by the way, not to bring politics into this, Sean, I know you don't want to do that. God forbid. You don't want to be controversial. But last week when we had this disaster of a case with, as we say in Spanish, que mala, everybody on her show was on the Diddy party list. It's like, wait a minute. You don't think that? No. I mean, it was a veritable who's who of folks who came out all of a sudden with this half-ass, half-baked, fealty towards her candidacy. That story blew everything up. You mentioned Justin Bieber. Have you noticed that 1,000-yard stare? He always looked. When I see those pictures of him, in that one scene where Diddy was taking the tarp off of some car, and he says, this is going to be your ride. I've got 24 hours. And he looks, there's a look where you stop, and he looks at the camera, and I swear to God, my heart just, oh my God.
Yeah.
Help
me. Mm-hmm.
Where are his parents? Where are his parents? Where? I don't understand. There's two things. We need to, and I don't want to sound like, oh no, oh God, look at this. There's one picture where he turns, he looks his eyes right into the camera, and my heart breaks. He's doing it. Look at this. He's like a lamb to slaughter.
Yep.
Grown man with a child. Look at this. And you know what they do?
Lionel, can I ask you a quick question? You see, when they talk about the what is the term? Guardianship, right? I've not got guardianship. Is this guardianship used within the industry as a way to relinquish parental decision making, Lionel? Because
I've never heard this 24-hour. You got him for 24 hours. What is this?
Because it seems to me like it's a legal paperwork that says you can make all the decisions for this child. And for me, that's a scary concept, Lionel. One
of these days, you're really going to get scared. Is the conservatorship in California? That's another story. Let's say, Natana, you're a big. Here's a what the hell is her name? Wendy Williams. They did the same thing with her.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm Sean's caretaker. I come in one day and I say, I think Sean's acting a little weird. Mm-hmm. He seems to, and I go to a court and I petition to be your conservator. I'm nobody. And they grant it. And I clean you out. It's like slavery. My friend Diane Diamond, she used to be on years ago on one of these great during the OJ case. And she wrote a book, and I thought, this can't be. Look at Wendy Williams. They wiped her out. You get money, it's a different story. The abuse. How about people going to courthouses? I forge a document, I forge a quitclaim deed, Natanya, and I own your property.
Yep.
And I mean, what? This is insane. And then when we have the number one prisoner on the planet who's in a jail cell, and all I'm saying is, don't let anything happen to him. Just him. Okay. And you get these two, I don't know, looking at the internet, falling asleep. You can't write this. Yeah. And I love when people in my country say, we're the best country in the world. Says who? I mean, I like we have the best system. No, we don't. What are you talking about? It works sometimes for the most part, but not always. I mean, this is, Sean, what you're doing is you are basically peeling back the scab of this purulent furuncle, this sebaceous herpetic lesion. This is for you, Ronnie. This pustule, this purulent, this lymph-filled carbuncle that we're squeezing with this gelatinous lymphatic ooze, which is the detritus and the funk and the fetid and feculent detritus of people throughout the years who have been just cast aside. That's what it is. You smell that?
You're really going to be my best friend, Lionel. I love work.
Oh, yeah.
And you definitely said it. And that is what you're doing, Ron and Sean. That's what you guys are doing. You are peeling back layers of stuff that regular Joes couldn't penetrate. You are making it palatable so that other people get a bird's eye view into the middle of things. And not only was Wendy Houston under a conservatorship, so was Britney Spears. So
yes, exactly.
And it's always the same shtick. All of a sudden, somebody's crazy. Somebody's not.
And you mentioned Whitney Houston. That's another story. Yeah. Remember who she was with? It's a long. Let me tell you something. I want to tell you that if people knew the truth, by virtue of and I've always been saying this, but my wife, she has a YouTube channel at Lynn's Warriors.
Okay.
You cannot believe what kids are going through, what is happening in the open. She was talking about pink cocaine, Tren de Aragua, all these unaccompanied minors, kids who come over the border. They don't have Natanya, they don't even have a name. And if they're missing, who's missing? That little girl. What little girl? The one who was here. That's right. Lynn's Warriors.
Still a bunch of children from Katrina that were missing.
Yes.
It's like, it's flooding down here. Send your kid up in the helicopter. They'll be safe. And then there are women that report sending their kid up in the helicopter to never be seen again. And
how about Oprah? How about Oprah with her help? How about Sean Penn?
Yes.
How about Bill Clinton? How about all these people? Nobody ever follows up on anything.
Yeah.
Let me also tell you something. When you have a story that is so hard to explain, the great Marshall McLuhan said, and I love this, little lies are hard to keep secret. Little lies, little secrets, little controversy. But big lies are easy because of our incredulity. Mm-hmm. The worst thing, if I told you, for example, that at the local church, there was demonic possession and organ harvesting. Now, let's assume that were true. People would say, you're out of your mind. Why? Because I can't get my head around that. But it's true.
This is
They've
what
been
I'm
talking about organ harvesting forever. Because I don't want to hear that. So because I don't like that, or because, Natanya, I don't like you saying that there's something wrong with my system, you must have done something wrong. You don't tell me, don't ruin you know,
You're right.
my
They're fairy,
purview.
they're fairy tale. It's
Right.
plausible deniability. People want to act like that can't be possible, and then they try to project onto you by saying, "But he's rich. Why would he want to do something to you?"
Exactly.
Oh, he has everything in the world he wants. Why would they do something to you? That would be stupid to jeopardize. Well, you are speaking from a perspective of someone who is logical and wouldn't do something wrong. But they're speaking from a place of entitlement where anything goes. And if you got enough money to throw at it, they know all of the hangers on are for sale for $1.
Years ago,
Someone with integrity.
Years ago, there was
just before you continue, Lionel, can I just say to
oh,
everyone who's
God,
watching right now, we've got Lynn's Warriors, the channel being posted in the side chat, and we've got the Dopest Nerd. The Dopest Nerd is at 2.4K, and Lynn's Warriors is 8.7K. There's 11.5K watching. Can we get Lynn up to 10K minimum, please, people? And can we also get the Dopest Nerd boosted? I'm sorry to interrupt, and I know that it's a bit.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
It's when we've got an audience like this, and you guys are giving up your time. It's only fair to give a little bit of subscriber funneling. It's 2 minutes, everyone. Just if you just go and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And I'm going to be checking in on you. And if you don't hit those targets, all of you in the side chat, in trouble. Thank you.
I got to tell you a story. My beloved wife, one time, she went to, you know, I got to tell you something right now. I don't care if anybody likes this or not. I love Donald Trump. Because what I went through with this guy, you have no idea. And that may bother you. I don't really care. It's a free country. But let me tell you what this guy did. There were a bunch of Native Americans, Indians, we used to call them. I love the Indians. And it's not because Columbus thought he was India. It was about the La Gente Indio, the people of God. They say Indio, they thought it was Indian. Anyway, did you know that on Indian reservations, you think black folks have it bad or gays have it bad or whatever? It's unbelievable. There were kids who were just missing on Indian reservations. It's like, what? I mean, nobody. They pick up the phone. What are you going to do? Call the trial? Do I call the Indian Affairs? Who do I call? Gone. So at the White House, he opened it up, and you should have seen it. It looked like, oh my God, it was like, you should see the outfits and the car. He's the only person who cared about missing Native Americans. Oh, because we talk a great game about Indians. Every now and then there's a Dancing with Wolves or something comes up. We don't give a damn. Remember Sasheen Littlefeather? You probably don't know that, but this was when Marlon Brando, when he won the Academy Award, he sent Sasheen Littlefeather. Turns out she's Mexican. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So when my wife and I were at this thing for it, this is amazing, for it was indigenous something or other. And she and the name Trump came up. Do you know that they said, well, what has he done? And she turns to him and says, I'll tell you what he did. He was the only person who cared about your people. That, you see, nobody cares. I don't care about politics. Just tell me the truth. If somebody screws up, that's fine. Let me tell you what happened years ago. After John F. Kennedy was killed in 1963, nobody believed the Warren report. It was garbage. Just like the 9/11 Commission, it was garbage. So the CIA, and this is before the Zapruder film, the CIA came up with this memorandum that said, we're going to weaponize the word conspiracy theory. So when somebody says that, we're going to say, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, yeah. And that means crazy. And we're going to say this, Natanya, there's no way this could have happened because you know how many people would have to keep their mouths shut? See, that UFO didn't happen, Natanya. It didn't happen because do you know how many people can't keep their mouths shut? Yeah, they can. No, they can't. That didn't happen. Natanya, that didn't happen in the Catholic Church. All those altar boys for 50 years weren't diddled en masse by Father Fitzpatrick and Patrick Fitzpatrick. You know, that never happened. Why? Because this would have gotten out. This would have gotten out. Shall I go through all of the horrors that we've experienced where somebody said, there's no way you can keep this quiet? It's all quiet because we don't want to hear about it.
Right. I mean, I just said to Ron, I believe yesterday, 25 years ago, December 27th will make 25 years ago I've been shot. Yeah. The cops in the video I watched today said they interviewed over 350 people. And trust me, there were more. The rest of the people said we didn't see anything. The club had almost probably 1,000 people. Why am I the only person speaking for 25 years? One rapper just came out about a month ago and did an interview and said he was in there. It's the first time I ever heard it. But he just said he didn't see anything. He heard it and he told his portion. Of course, secrets can be kept. There is 350 people were investigated by the district attorney and the detectives, and not one of them have anything to say. How? In a social media environment? Let me tell you something. My foray into the world of social media is huge for me because I had a love-hate relationship with social media. I wouldn't really indulge or get on social media in the beginning. And I would be one of those people who was, rapidly on any emerging technology and things like that. I didn't want to get onto it because 25 years ago, before there was a social media, I was viral when there was no viral. People were harassing the daylights out of me. And this was with newspapers. I was on the front cover of the newspaper. People would curse me out in the street. The first time I went to the movies with my family. They were like, come on, get out. Which the first movie wasn't a good idea. It was The Matrix. And oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, talk about ironic.
I love The Matrix, but the amount of gunshots, it was just too much for my psyche. Right. But the people in the window that realized who I was, because I still had on bandages, started, oh, let me check to see if your money is real, and just harassing me. Like, it was nonstop. And this was before there was social media.
Have you talked to these officers? Have you reached out to these officers now?
I just saw the video today. I just saw that
today.
I will be reaching out to them. And Sean, I would love if you could get them on.
That'll be fantastic. We'll reach out.
Yeah, Detective Joe Sweeney and Detective Artie Cadigan. They both.
Well, you got to call you got to be able to find it. I'll bet you they're online. One of the things I've got to tell you something, which is, and I don't want to in any way compare the two, but unless you know what happens, the Central Park 5, what people think happened and what people actually say happened are two completely stories. There's an expression that Tolstoy says that history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. Well, recent history is tell me what happened.
Yeah.
Do you mean to tell me, this is my favorite, just as an example, I hate to give it all these side, but we have this fellow, something I said, Rashawn, something I said, please, forgive me. You people just get up.
Yeah, no.
It's goddamn bunch of people. All of a sudden, did I say something?
Freaking love you, Lionel.
I got a Jaguar. She's in a car like this. I got the other guy.
No one has ever made it as fast as you, Lionel, onto my fantasy dinner party list quickly as you, my G.
This is one of the best shows ever. I appreciate that. But anyway, when Bobby Kennedy Jr., was running, do you know the information that's available on how Sirhan was not the only one? And yet Bobby Kennedy's not saying, excuse me, I'm Bobby Kennedy. They killed my father. It's not. Even he's quiet about it. I don't understand this. Princess Di. Hello. Wills and Harry. That's one of the reasons why I think Harry's so nuts.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said, excuse me, I'm Wills. I'm the future king. What happened to my mother? Don't give me this nonsense about the thing. How are people so quiet? How does this just get whatever? John Kennedy.
They learn to get along and go along.
So Natana, if they don't get justice, oh, look who's back. If they don't get justice, what do you expect?
That's right.
I mean, think about this. This was the president. Everybody loves it. This is, I love when people don't, they don't react to something. When people started walking around wearing this mask, and I said, it doesn't work. What are you doing? And people were like, and they're just walking. And I thought, look at people. Look what people will subject themselves to. Look what people will overlook.
Yeah.
I don't want to get political, but when you look at what's happening in the Middle East, we're saying, oh, well, what are you going to do? I remember being on TV one time. I was talking about women in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 250, 500,000 who were, I can't use that word, but who were attacked with bayonets and they had fistulas and nobody cared. I said, what? This is, and somebody said, what do they export there? I said, what? In the Congo. What are they exporting? I don't know. They got chocolate.
Coltan.
Nobody cares, huh?
Don't they have coltan as well?
Yeah, but
Oh,
yeah, but
which
if it
is
was oil, put it this way, my friend said, Gerald Salenti said, "What do you think about the chances would be for us to invade Iraq if their main export was broccoli?" You see, we are the most imperfect. We are psychopathic. The way we turn off and on.
humanity.
We look at people.
That's right.
That's okay. That's not okay. This is okay. That's not okay.
Yep.
What they did to you is Natana is like, well, what are you going to do? And you also know that they take one look at you, and I know you've thought about this,
I know.
and they say, what was she doing there? Where there's smoke, there's fire. You know how it happens. You know, hang around these rappers, and wait a minute, what?
Yep.
You know how it is. They're just.
And they've said it to me directly. I've had people question me like this was a theme of, oh, well, if she was so spiritual, what was she doing in the club? Because I always used to go to the club before I got saved. There was a time
Excuse me.
Walked away.
What was Jesus' first miracle? Curing cancer? No, wine. A cana.
Water to wine.
Jesus, I hate to bug you. Yeah, listen, we're out of wine. Oh shit, why don't you tell me? Meanwhile, everybody's dead. I'll get you in a moment. This one's deaf. I'll get you in a moment. Jesus, can you Lazarus, one. But wine, no problem. Fish, bread and fish, no problem. Parties, Jesus is your guy.
Yep.
Then he got it. I don't understand this. Who did Jesus hang around? Hookers, pimps, degenerates. And that's why I fit in right here on the Sean Atwood show.
People of ill repute. But here's the deal. He and they were in great company because they all served a role. They all served a role. From whom much is required, much is given, but they have to go through. They have to go through. The beauty of going through is you're not going to stay in the midst of it. You're going through. You're passing through because there is beauty on the other side. It's beauty for ashes. And that is why I'm so resolute in what I have to say and how I feel in my position. I'm resolute because beauty for ashes. I went through the fire and I do not smell like smoke. And I am going to make sure that anyone who ever had a doubt about this case, anyone who ever perceived themselves with the inability to speak up and say what they went through and to speak to people that typically they would be afraid to interact with, I am not afraid, have not been afraid. They can't stand me because not only am I the survivor who was speaking truth to power for 25 years, I'm walking around with evidence in my body. They cannot stand me. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't need to be liked by that kind of people. I'm going to make sure that they face the ramifications of what they did. And I'm going to make the government work and do what they're supposed to do. I'm going to make the law work for those who look like me that are not in the upper echelons of society and not in the who's club. I'm going to make it work.
You know, you mentioned something interesting in Natanya about having evidence in you. I have a friend of mine who was the victim of a suicide bomber in Tel Aviv years ago. And listen to this. He has the bomber had a suicide belt at a belt. He has the bomber's bone fragments in his body.
Wow.
He has the bomber. So he walks around. And if you don't think that gets mystical and weird, and then you think, how did this happen? You know, I love the notion of odds. How did it's not survivor's guilt, but why am I? I'm sorry, please.
I did go through it. I suffered survivor's guilt for about 12 years. Really bad. Really, really bad. Because there were stories after I got hurt of someone. There was a guy who was, you know how when you're a kid, you walk on the edge of the sidewalk, one foot in front of the other.
Right.
A guy had done that and fell off the sidewalk, hit his head and unalived. And I was like, how is this possible? How do I get a pew-pew to the head? And this person just tripped and fell and they're gone. And the irony was my mom and dad had divorced, couldn't stand each other. When I tell you they could not stand each other.
That's normally a good reason for the divorce.
Oh, they couldn't stand each other for other things. But my mother called my dad and said, come and talk to your child. She is going through. We need help. She's suffering too badly. And he came and he was the only person to get me through it. He literally, I don't know if God just put these words in him, but he literally said to me, those people that perished ever since you got hurt, God has a Lamb's Book of Life, and in it are millions and millions of names. When he turns a page, some people cease to exist. Their page there, and that's the last page they were on. He said, this book is massive. Your name is on millions of pages. Get up and live. And that snapped me out of it.
Well, you know what's funny? I've always wanted to be God's lawyer. And the first thing I would say is, thank you very much. Yes, Lionel for the defense. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, God didn't have anything to do with that. God said, what are you looking at me for? I didn't do that. I didn't shoot you. I gave you people free will. And then when something happens, then you want me to stop something? I didn't. You wanted to, okay, you want to be on your own. You don't want me to, okay, fine. I'm not going to rule it. Randomness, weather, this. Hey, it's not from me. I didn't do anything on purpose. That's like I like when people pray to God because they're in the World Series or they're in the pitch and it's some soccer game. It's like, what? You think God's going to say, all right, well, I'm sorry, you called me first. You know, you talk about something which I always thought survivor's guilt made no sense. Survivor's guilt. You thought you'd have survivor's glee. I made it. Yeah. Doesn't that make sense? That's logical. Guilt because you can't figure it out. Exactly. And whenever you have a problem with locus of control, I can't control this. This doesn't make sense to me. Why this? It's like when people have found out years later that they were adopted and it drove them crazy. And they said, but my parents, I love them. Why did you do this? They're 50 years old. And everybody goes through the same thing. You think you're so special, Natana? No, you're not. You know, let me tell you something. I'll bet you, if you walked into a, how do I say this? Somebody, I'm getting up. Thank you so much. You know, I've got so many damn tones. I'm thinking, that's Ron again. Because I have this tone and that and WhatsApp and who's app but I'll bet you if you walked into a veterans center and you said, excuse me, what are you? Were you in the war? Sort of. Do you know what I think I can relate. I think you'd be surprised. I think people would say that's exactly because the model of what you're feeling is identical to what they're thinking.
I've met a lot of veterans, and yes, I share in
Natana, you're talking about the miracle of your existence. Did they do an analysis of the path of the bullet?
Yes, and so I'm glad you asked that. So the neurosurgeon who did my surgery, the nurses, I guess he was making rounds and he passed by the nurses station, and so they were like, well, yeah, she said so and so, and he said, she said who said something, and they said, oh, the patient, the lady who you did the surgery on to get the bullet out. He said, what? She's speaking? She's awake and speaking? So he came to my room. He didn't believe it. And when he came to my room, he put his hand on he just stood there and he said, you know, kiddo, let me tell you something. I'm a man of science. I'm a man of science. The path that the bullet took in your brain, there's no reason that you should be alive. Not the least of which, how are you up and speaking? You know what my answer to him was? To God be the glory. Perhaps God saved me so that you could know that he is still in the saving and the healing business, and so that you could know that he was real. He said, I'm a man of science. I don't judge anybody's religion. However, I deal with the practical side of life. The path that the bullet took, you should not even still be here. The fact that you're here and you're alert and you're up and you're laughing with people, how? And then you're not angry? He said, I've never seen a patient like you. I said, anger. Well, my mother and them and my cousins were in the room, and I said, anger belongs to them. I'm here. I don't have a reason to be angry. I'm here. I made it. I'm happy I'm here to raise my kids. Yes, they did a study of I literally have, there were, for years I carried in my wallet. I had to stop because it was getting like all those creases and wearing out. But I have a report from a doctor that even measures all of the bullets to establish that it is a full 9 millimeter bullet. The only that's not in the measurement is the portion that was aspirating into my lungs that the doctor took out. And incidentally, I don't know if both of you know, but it was a hollow point. Hollow points hit, they shatter. And Ron, I think you explained, Ron, how it works with how they shatter or whatever. But
yeah,
when they enter,
but they mushroom out. That's the whole idea. It's to do the most. But the irony though is that if somebody tries to explain, how about through and throughs? How about there are people, for example, there are people, as you know, Ben Carson did a hemispherectomy for years as a neurosurgeon. He took out half of people's brains.
Yeah.
You don't need, as one doctor says, you don't need all your brain. I just don't know which part you do. But you'd be surprised. Let me talk about odds. This is what God is telling you. Sometimes if you look around, the odds, think about this. If I had not, just think, Sean, if you and I had not met at that weird men's room at that rest stop years ago, but that's a long story. But by virtue of happenstance, when he walked around and says, girly, girly, cheap, hey, sailor, sailor. Remember that? I know you told me not to bring it up, but it was such a delightful story. But here's the thing. When you look at what life is, you've heard about the butterfly wings, how the flapping of the wings can actually cause a tornado.
Yeah.
If God were to say to you, okay, listen, Natana, pick 6 cards. Great. Look at those cards. You know what the odds of you getting those 6 cards in that order was? 1 out of 15 trillion. And you would say, it doesn't mean anything to me. No, you don't understand the odds, but the odds didn't mean anything. We do things constantly where we defy the odds, but we don't attach anything. Look at childbirth. Do you have any idea of how that's not supposed to be? How this thing, one peptide, one capsid protease problem, one motility problem, one problem with ovulation, one little polywog, one flipper that something that just, it wasn't time. It's a crapshoot. And you think, dear God, the miracle. Then go to Mumbai. Then go to Mexico City. Go, holy God, they're all over the place. Well, is it that rare or isn't it? Go to a fertility clinic and these people are saying, I can't do it. So everything about our life, everything is randomness, this entropy. Is it God? I'm not as spiritual as you. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I just am amazed at how things happen and don't happen, and how, for reasons that we just don't know, one move, it would have been completely different.
And
but you have
people are asking Natana if you could just expand on that, the path of the bullet. The answer I'm kind of deducing is that it went into the nose and it split, and some of it ended up in your lung.
So I have a few fragments right here. And so as a teenager, I never had acne. I was one of the lucky ones. My skin has been flawless all my life. As a teenager, my skin was clear. After I got shot, my face broke out over here really bad, because this is where a lot of the fragments are. In my cheek, so they couldn't remove the rest of these fragments because of where they were located. Right over here. So when it first went in, it broke my nose bone. It broke my nose bone and it broke my cheekbone. There's a big portion of bullet right here. It took out my entire nasopharynx. So you know that membrane in the back of your nose is like a bubble. I have one in this nostril, but I don't have one in this nostril. That caused a lot of problems. It took that entire thing out. A piece of bullet fragment went through there, hit something, and ended up in my cerebral cortex, causing me to have a disorder. The rest, another part of bullet was...
You had what disorder? I'm sorry, what?
A seizure disorder.
Oh, seizure disorder.
A big chunk is right here. This is the biggest chunk of bullet that's left, but a piece of bullet also went over here. That's the one that eventually moved. I started having massive headaches a few years ago. Couldn't figure out why. And I would put a towel over my head. I was photosensitive. I mean, everything.
Right.
If you spoke to me, it hurt. I didn't want people to breathe. It hurt. And my son was like, no, mommy, this is too much. I got to take you to the doctor. Took me to the hospital, put me on morphine instantly. When they did the film, they said, oh, you have some metal in your face. And my son was like, I told you my mother had a GSW. And it's like the nurse didn't know what a GSW. She looked and was like, a what? My son was like, a gunshot wound. And they're like, oh. Then they look at it again and they're like, the piece over here shifted and landed on top of the nerve for that tooth. It was so inflamed, they had to rush me into emergency surgery and give me a pulpectomy. A pulpectomy is when they take all the nerve out of your tooth. Or when you got a hollow tooth, that tooth has no structure anymore.
Right.
So the tooth broke. The tooth broke off, the bottom part broke off, and the root was still here. So then I had to open a hole in my mouth. And eventually they had to extract the whole thing, and I lost the tooth. I wouldn't, and that's when I had started I had a talk radio show here in Atlanta called Having My Say. And so I would talk about all type of issues relevant to the Black culture. And then eventually I stopped, and people were like, why, when is your show coming back? Why won't you talk? I was humiliated because I was missing a tooth, and life gets in the way. I had a lawsuit, but I helped everybody in my family out here. This one's kids going to college. This one, going to lose their house. I helped everybody. I did things for myself. I did things for some people who didn't deserve it. I had some people who took the check with the right hand and slapped me with the left hand. But do I regret it? No, because I had a mentality. Once I got that lawsuit, all types of craziness ensued. And it was my sincere belief that there was so demonic energy attached to it.
Now, may I ask, without going into specifics, was that lawsuit was settled successfully?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, fine.
I cycled through. I forced myself to cycle through. Like the house I originally bought, I sold it. I didn't want money. I didn't want anything attached to the original money. Nothing. When I tell you, I got rid of every single lamp, everything. I didn't want anything attached to the original money because it felt like it had a demonic attached to it. They would send people my way. Somebody would happen upon, come to my beauty salon. I heard that you're a great beautician. Next thing you know, they're weird. They're asking me random questions. I'm like, me? What are you asking me that for? What does that have to do with anything? I'm instantly realizing, wow, they're sending people my way. Then it sends me into a lack of safety because now who can I trust?
Right.
I have family members, distant people that will randomly come and ask me some strange thing, or we've had a conversation before and now they call me back and they're recycling the same conversation like we never had it before. And I'm like, and I'm not one to play the game. I'm like, who's standing next to you? Because we already discussed this.
Right.
You asking me these weird questions. And then people get offended. And then they pull away. My kids have lived to see so much stuff. When I bought my kids their cars, I bought my son, he was 17. I bought him a Dodge Challenger with an SRT8 Hemi engine. I didn't know what a Hemi engine was. For a 17-year-old, I said, you guys, prepare. And I bought my oldest son a Range Rover. I said, prepare yourself. Your life is going to change. People who used to, when my son was in college, I said, people that used to catch a ride with you in college to get to the Walmart to buy groceries, they're going to hate you all of a sudden. My son was like, oh, mommy, that's ridiculous. You don't understand. Until about a month in, my son called me crying horrendously on the phone. I was like, what happened? I thought something happened to him. And he sends me a text message and he's like, mommy, look what somebody put on my car. And they wrote this big evil. You think you all that because you got a Range Rover. You ain't nothing. A horrific letter to him. His feelings were so hurt because he didn't know where it came from. And he was like, and there were just people around that he knew. And he was like, did y'all see who did this? And everybody was like, I didn't see anything. And it made my kids then go into this hyper awareness of who's in their circle and who's around it. This thing is perpetual. It continues to fan out. It doesn't happen once and go away. There was a time where literally around 2015, 2016, I started saying, I'm being cyberstalked. And people were like, what?
Yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, what now? And I said, I'm telling you, I'm being cyberstalked. I could go to a restaurant with my family, take out my card to pay. Every single card of mine declined. Every one. I could then say to my son, all right, well, let me transfer the money to you. I transfer the very money I tried to pay with to my son, and he can pay it. Or I transfer it to my daughter if it's just us two, and she can pay it on her card. And I have a parent account, same account, but she can pay it. I've been at the gas station stranded because for safety, I'll lock my cards, and then nothing in my account will work. Thank God my daughter's independent, mature, has money, and she'll be like, oh, I'll buy it, Mom. Why am I going through this? This is nonsense. I go to Barnes & Noble's 3 weeks ago, almost a month ago. I walk in, go do what I'm doing because I wrote a book called A Shot in the Dark Buy my book.
Very good.
Novels. It's on
Put a link.
everywhere. Sean has this. I mean, Ron has this stuff. But I walk into Barnes and Nobles. I come out of Barnes and Nobles and someone was walking, across my path. So I went around them and it made me end up at the back of my truck. I look at my car and I'm like, where's my license plate? Someone stole my license plate. It means I'm being followed. I'm being gang stalked. This is not a nice feeling. My daughter said to me one day when she was in the 5th grade, she's now a high school senior. She was in the 5th grade. School was out. We were home and we were watching Good Morning America. And so they had Malala Yousafzai on. And so my daughter says, oh, that's Malala. So I turn and I say, oh, excuse you. You know Malala? And she's like, Mommy, I'm a big girl. Of course I know Malala. And I said, well, you know what Mommy and Malala has in common? It just came out. And my family's from Trinidad. So she looked and said, is she from Trinidad? And I said, no. I said, we both got shot in the head.
Wow.
And she just like, and I just started crying intently. And I could not console myself. And she hugged me and she was like, oh, Mommy, it's okay. You're a miracle. And at the time, God just spoke to me and said, I've been trying to tell you that. Check and see how many people survive. And it never occurred to me to Google how many people survive getting pow-powed in their head. And so I Google it and it says only 5% of people that sustain gunshot wounds to the head survive.
Let me ask you a question.
And
Let me
only
ask you a question.
3% have cognition.
Now you have said something, Natanya, and first of all, anybody who would question you did not listen to your sincerity. You didn't skip a beat. Everything you told. See the way you told. Barnes and Noble story. You came out, you walked in front of you, the way to walk around the car. That's the stuff I love. Details, not this people. And then and then the next thing you know, no, you're very, very specific in cars and time. Okay. I don't know how the harm, I'm never going to suggest that there's no harmony to the world, that there's cycles and energy. But do you think that there is something, you can call it demonic, you can call it spiritual, you can call it a frequency. You were on radio. I was on talk radio too. If we never had a radio, we'd swear there were no radio waves. We'd swear, it's like, what are you talking about? I don't have AM, FM. What is this? There are things out there, infrared, this, ultraviolet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that maybe there was some kind of you unleashed demons, angels, sprites, poltergeists, something, because people are, I think the word is effing with you. It's like you're doing this for no particular reason other than to disturb your order, to scare you. No harm is done. If you call the police, they say, well, was any harm done? I'm scared. I'm petrified. What do you think about this?
I do. I think there was and it's funny. I've had my own feelings about it. However, like I told them when I got saved, and someone asked the other night, Ron, and I realized when I watched the playback, I never directly answered the question.
Okay.
The time I got saved and the time that this happened. I got saved in October. I got saved in October.
You mean spiritually saved?
Spiritually saved. I got saved in October, baptized in October, and then this happened December 27th. And the irony, just a quick story about my salvation. I was in the church. My girlfriend, like I said, came to my shop, told me, why don't I come visit her church? Went to visit her church. Had been going there for a while, felt comfortable, felt a church home. Literally, big church in New York called Christian Cultural Center. There was probably about 6,000 people in there that day. The pastor comes in, he's preaching, he stops instantly. He says, oh my God, there's a woman in here. God is talking to you and he's talking to me right now. Get up and come here. He is sending you a message. Please come right now and let me give you salvation. You are about to be tested. I instantly knew it was me. But when the world is in your ear, it'll make you believe. The enemy will make you believe, oh, they're going to look at you and think you're dirty. He's making this big scene. They're going to think you're a terrible person. And I was listening to that. You know how they illustrate an angel and a devil on one shoulder? I was just, I don't want anybody to judge me. And he was like, please come now. You're about to be tested. The whole, a dominion of evil is coming against you. You're about to be tested. Come now. I would not get up. I wouldn't get up. I sat there. So then he said, I tried. He went on with the sermon. When he got to the benediction, he stopped. He was like, stop it. I can't let you leave here. Come now. God is talking to you. I promise you. I wanted to get up. I sat there. There was a woman beside me. I had never met this woman a day in my life. This woman stuck her hand behind me, under my behind, and lifted me up and said, God said it was you. Get up. And she lifted me up, and that is what I needed. When I stood up, I felt like everything washed off of me. I felt this level of peace and freedom. And I got up, the church went ballistic. I'm talking, if you know anything about the Black church, people catching the spirit, running all over that church. Like, it was unbelievable. So to get your salvation in this kind of way, with 6,000 people in jubilation, standing up here, I was like, as I made my way down the aisle, I felt free. I felt light. I felt something overcame me that I promise you, there are no words in the lexicon to explain it. I got there. You want to know how the pastor caught me? Like this.
Oh, yeah.
Put his hand up right to my face and said, you are about to be tested. This is not the end. This is not the end. This is the beginning. You're about to be tested, but salvation is yours. And I was like, I'll tell you. So everybody's rejoicing. It was amazing. Afterwards, I wouldn't cross the street without looking 12 times. I was like, is it a bus? Because you start to hyper focus, like, what's coming? And so I was completely immersed into the word. People stopped coming to my shop because they would come to my shop, and I'd be like, can I tell you the goodness of God? And I'm talking, these are like, look, Scar used to come to my shop, the guy they got into the melee with. And I'd be like, let me pray for you. Let me lay hands on you. Because when you get saved, sometimes the pendulum will swing all the way to the other side, and now you're a holy roller. That's what happened to me. Eventually, the pendulum swung somewhere in the middle, and I settled here where I am. But I'll tell you, everybody that would come to my shop, I would be like, let me tell you the goodness of God, because that feeling of euphoria that came over me was something I had never experienced in my entire life, and I wanted everybody to feel it. So help me God, people stopped coming around. They were like, uh-oh, you heard about, they used to call me Ebony. Professionally, as a hairdresser, I was known as Ebony. They'd be like, you heard about Ebony? Oh, no, she's a holy roller. Don't go over there to the shop. She's going to try to save you. It became a joke in the community, I promise you. I'm a tough cookie. I could take it. But they were like, woo. They would see me and be like, hey, pastor, hallelujah. It became a joke because people were just like, my God, look at this change. I tell you what I felt was unbelievable. It felt like this level of euphoria. And so that night when I so I wasn't going out at all. I had always fed the hungry and the homeless at Thanksgiving out of my shop. And then I would go to all the, women's shelters, and I would go to Kings County Hospital and feed the staff and anybody hanging around the waiting room. I would just feed people all over. I did this all the time. So when I got there that Thanksgiving night, they were like, oh, we thought you weren't going to come. You normally come earlier than this. And I'm like, no, there's a lot more people out, and that's why I'm late. But they were happy to see me. And I'm a humanitarian. This is what I've always done. When it got to Christmas, I told my friends, I will not, my girlfriend, who was a party promoter that I went with that night, there were about 6 of us. She said, please come to my New Year's party. I said, there's no way. In the Black family, we have something called watch night. It has to do with when Blacks were enslaved, they would go to the church and watch to make sure all of their people made it over to the next day, made it to the new year. And so it's called watch night service. I always go to watch night with my family. It's just how it was. So I said, I can't go out with you on New Year's, but I will go out with you the day after Christmas. And that I went out on Boxing Day with her. And of course, the next morning was December 27th. People on the internet said to me, this was more than likely a sacrifice because the incident with the city college where the 9 people died because of his event was December 28th. Years later, you shoot me in the face on December 27th. What is the probability? What is the statistical probability of 2 major crimes connected to your life happening years later around the same date? Something needs to be studied about what's going on at that time of the year. Now, we know a lot of demonic souls run at the end of the year because they want to snatch souls from the kingdom. So you don't make it over to the new year. And I was like, I'm not going to be around with y'all. I'll just go out for Christmas. Before I left, my child, who I now know has a gift, he has the gift as well. He said to me that night, Mommy, don't go. You're going to go up to the sky. I'm never going to see you again. He was 7. And I was just like, oh, go inside your grandmother's house, boy. You're just trying to make me not go. Out of the mouths of babes. That night I went into the club. Somebody on the internet said, you were the holiest thing in the room, and the devil was looking for a stole to steal from the kingdom. That's how you ended up shot. Because I promise you, when I told my friends, when I saw them backing back to the door and reaching in their waist, I said, oh my God, watch out. I think you're going to pull a gun. And she said, what? And I said, and when I turned back and I looked at them, God said, calm down. You're about to be hit. I screamed, no. And that's when, pow, pow, and hit me in my face. God was with me the whole time. And I learned when I was getting my salvation in my baptism classes, the first thing out of your mouth in a crisis, you either speak life or speak unaliving. And I said, Father God, don't take me. I'm not finished raising my kids. I have work to do. Let me do your work, God. And that's what I said. And that's why I'm here. I could have used expletives. Every day I say, Father God, you still working on me? That's the flesh part. Listen, this mouth is like a sailor when I'm ready. But I could have said that and it would have turned out another way. But I knew, call on God. And he was with me the whole time. A lot of people have messaged me like, hey, in the story, you told a story, you bent down and picked up something. What was it that you picked up? And for some reason, I always get to that point and I forget to tell them what I picked up. After being shot and walking through the club and going through all these scenarios, we get to this kitchen, which is the connecting kitchen to the hotel above the club. And everybody's running around. There's black and white tiles and it's covered in bloody footprints from my blood. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to survive.
Wow.
How did I lose all of this blood? And so help me, there were 5 boxes stacked 5 high, kind of askew, and they had carrots in them. I could see the carrots poking out and the little stem hanging out. And I went and stood by the carrots and I just held these paper towels to my face and was just spewing blood everywhere. And everybody started running through this side doorway that was very dark. And people told me, come on, come this way. And I ran that way. And when 100 people had just went through the doorway. As soon as I got to the doorway, God said to me, bend down and touch the floor. Very random. But I already learned, don't question God. So right when he said bend down, I bent down and I touched the floor. I didn't even look. I would never bend down and look and touch a floor without looking. I touched it. And I felt something metal. God said to me, put it in your bag. My bag was looped around my head and the paper towels were in my hand. I just stuck it and put it in my bag. I never even looked at it. When I got through the door, a man came behind me in this dark corridor and tapped me on my back and said, come with me. And when I looked back, I saw his face and I knew him to be he was either the brother of the club owner or the cousin, or they all looked alike. The Burgos family. And as soon as I saw his face, I said, that's one of them. And I said to myself instantly, how did he know it was me? It was a dark corridor with a bunch of people. He knew it was me because they watched me on a video camera. Somebody in the internet saw me on an interview and they said they were coming to make sure you were finished. As soon as we heard this loud commotion, he ran and left me. And here I am in this area now where he had led me where nobody else was there. When I got to the block that night, we had never seen this before. There were 2 ambulances at the head of the block, one on the right side, one on the left side. Both of them were halfway on the sidewalk and halfway in the street, narrowing traffic to 1 lane. I said to my girlfriends, what is this? Y'all don't find this strange? 2 ambulances? Are they expecting somebody to be unalive? Oh, come on, Holy Spirit. Come on, hallelujah. Just get over it. Come on. Stop acting like that. And I was just like, I got a bad feeling about this, guys. The ambulance is there. 1 took me and 1 took the other guy that got shot. There was preparation and intention here. I was the most severely injured by all accounts. If you, to this day, 25 years later, they will say 3 people were injured. The woman shot in the face was the most seriously injured. They took a guy who was grazed and a guy who was shot in the shoulder to a level 1 trauma center, St. Vincent's. They took me to St. Clair's Hospital, a community hospital where women go get to touch up their facial surgery. A local community hospital. They were so lackadaisical and blasé. I was like, they're trying to let me die. I really thought that. And I literally said to the nurse, I never cried, I never passed out. I said to the nurse, excuse me, can I have the phone? She got the phone. She brought it over. My fingers were so nervous I couldn't dial. I said the number to her. I could only remember my god sister's number. I said, please call this number. She called the number. I took the phone. I had just left my god sister's house to go out to the party. When she said to me, hello, I said, tell. Her name is Chantel. I said, tell. She said, why? Whose number is this? Why are you calling me to tell me what happened at the club? Like, call me tomorrow. And I said, tell. And when she heard me say that, she was like, are you okay? What happened? I could hear my brother. She started going, what happened? What happened? I could hear my brother-in-law in the background screaming, what happened to Eb? What happened to Eb? So help me God, I finally cried. And I was like, please call mommy. I'm not going to make it. I got shot. And she was like, what? And she was screaming. My brother-in-law took the phone. What happened? I said, call mommy. I got shot in the face. Just then, the nurse hears me crying. She comes back over. The TV is playing in the background in the emergency department, and she sees all of the thing coming. She goes, oh, mommy, that's you? That's what you were saying? That's what you were saying? You saw J-Lo? How she look? What she had on?
Oh, my God.
I promise you, I was so disgusted. They had ignored me the entire time. They were apathetic. I was laying on a stretcher. By the grace of God, my mother, who was in her own right a powerhouse, connected politically, everything. One of our personal family friends is a senator. My mother made calls in no time. I was transferred by this extreme medevac ambulance from St. Clair's to St. Vincent's, where I was rushed into surgery, and that surgeon saved my life. They rushed me in as soon as I came in. As they were leading me down the hallway, I saw my mother lean over the gurney. And they were like, man, we're rushing. And I said to my mother, tell my kids I love them. And my little sister was over my mother's shoulder. She was crying inconsolably. She was looking at me with horror on her face and crying inconsolably. And I told my mother, please take care of my kids. Tell them I love them. My mother said, no, you go in there and you have that surgery and you get out. You take care of your own kids. My name is Grandma. You're a mother. You're going to take care of them. You stay strong and you come back out here. And I was like, yes, mommy. And that kept me alive because I felt myself fading away. That kept me alive. And I thank God for my mother. My mother is a powerhouse. If you think I'm strong, baby, wait till you meet Gloria. Nothing to play with. Nothing to play with. And by the grace of God, I'm here. So when people try to make a mockery on the internet, oh, please, all of a sudden she's spiritual. I've always been like this. I grew up in the church. When I made my way back after my 20s, you know, like I call it my Black Rumspringer, when I made my way back to the church, I never played with it. I was serious. Because there comes a time where you become an adult and you kind of pull away and you go to the world and you see what's out there and you go explore. And then you realize, oh, I like it and I'm staying, or it's not really my shtick. It wasn't my shtick. And so I made my way back. I tried to get out of it. My son said to me one time, my grandmother used to take my kids to church. My son said to me, Mommy, come on and come to church with us. And I was like, I don't have anything to wear. He looked up at me and said, Jesus said, come as you are. I was like, okay, I'm coming. I had to go. What can I say to that? I knew from a very young age that something was different about me. I've been through many things. When I was 9 years old, I self-diagnosed myself with scoliosis. I was reading a book by Judy Blume called Diddy. I saw this big word, and everything she explained about this young girl was everything that was happening in my body that I had tried to tell the adults in my life, but they wouldn't listen. So I bust into my mother's room this Sunday. I think it was like a Sunday night. I couldn't remember. It was like a movie of the week was on, and I was like, I have sclerosis. And she was like, get out of my room. You don't have nothing. I was like, Mommy, I'm telling you, I have sclerosis. She was like, get out of here. So I went to my grandmother's room and I was like, Grandma, I have sclerosis. Please save me. And she was like, why do you think you have sclerosis? And when I told her, she kept telling my mother, take her to the doctor, take her to the doctor. My mother said, she don't have no sclerosis. Don't listen to this child. When she finally agreed to take me to the doctor, because my grandmother needled her, he took me in, made me touch my toes, sent me for some x-rays. He said, I have good news and I have bad news. And she said, well, what's the good news? He said, you don't have sclerosis. She said, get your jacket, let's go. He said, hold on, you have scoliosis, and I'd like to know if you know that. And I explained to him, he said, you're 9. Scoliosis doesn't even show up in 9-year-olds. So I've been different my whole life. I told Ron and them last night, I never felt like a child. Never. When I was a kid, I used to say all the time, I'm grown. I'm grown. Trust me, that doesn't go over well in a Black household. But I always felt like I was an adult in this little body. As I grew, people was like, she's a wise old soul. Because the spirits that's in me has been alive for many lifetimes and is a very powerful and accomplished spirit. It just landed in this flesh house this time around. I never felt like I was a child. I always felt like I was a mature grown-up and you could talk to me. I used to tell them, why do you have to hit me? Just talk to me. And they would say, what? Because like, who are you talking back to? But this is who I've always been. When I was 17, that, you know, all of the things they tried, all of the medical things they tried to deal with my scoliosis, I was growing too much. For 1 year, somebody lost my x-ray file in someone else's caseload. And in 1 year, I jumped. When I first went in, my curvature was like 8 degrees. When they finally had to do surgery on me at the age of 17, they corrected me from a 32-degree angle down to a 19-degree curve with a metal rod in my spine called a Zilke instrumentation. In fact, the spine specialist that I went to who did my surgery did the surgery for Gloria Estefan when her tour bus crashed years later. I had to learn how to walk again at 17. I've been through a lot. This level of strength doesn't come from a one-time incident. This is a lifetime of God preparing me for this. So if anybody questions where my strength comes from, a lifetime of things. I'm not here because I have nothing better to do. There's lots of things I could do with my time, but I want justice. And I want to make those people accountable because this is how this whole thing stops. People let plausible deniability allow this man to wreak havoc on a community, on a bunch of people, on a world. Havoc. Those people that allow this foolishness are culpable too. I've seen the blogosphere where there are people who try to rewrite history now and absolve themselves of any guilt, even though they were paid to look the other way for years. I won't call any names. But I'm not playing. My assignment in this journey of life is to hold the guilty accountable. And by golly, oh boy, will I.
Wow, absolutely mesmerizing, Natanya. You're such a powerful speaker.
Thank you.
And yeah, I've got to help Jen put baby Ziggy to bed because it's getting late here in the UK. So I'm going to step down and let Ron continue. I'm going to continue to listen though on my phone because I'm just so gripped right now by what you're saying. I know it must be horrific to relive it.
By the way, you are a witness from God. You are, oh my God. Now, did I miss something? When you bent down and you said, bent up, pick something up, you said,
always forget that part, don't I?
I thought to myself, did she say it and I forgot?
I
What did you pick up? A gun? What was it?
No, it was a bracelet. So have you ever seen those rappers with the gigantic jewelry on?
Yeah.
It was a massive gold bracelet full of diamonds shaped like a bicycle link. God had the forethought in the middle of what I was going through to tell me to bend down and pick that up and put it in my pocket. So I didn't even know it was there. When I was in the hospital, I asked my mother for something else. And I said, where's my belongings? And she said, don't worry, your purse is together. It's in your clothes. It's under the bed. I said, I'm looking for something. She looked and I said, because I didn't know what it was. And she's like, I said, what's in my bag? She's looking through. She's like, it's just your makeup and little stuff and then your jewelry. And I said, what jewelry? I didn't have any jewelry there. And when she took it out, I was like, and then I realized that is what God gave me. A friend of mine actually took that bracelet to the Diamond District in New York and sold it. And I lived off of that money for a long time.
Wow.
This is how good God is. In the midst of the storm, he wanted.
And I can't believe they didn't take that some orderly didn't go through your purse and take it. And by the way, I don't live too far from where the old St. Clair's was. It's in Hell's Kitchen. It's right over here. And then they took you to Vincent, kind of in the village. And Vincent, St. Clair's was when they would take AIDS. It's not exactly, wasn't a good place. That is not a level 1 trauma.
Yeah. Why would you take someone shot in the head to that?
Have you, Natanya, have you told, of course, this is a stupid question, so please forgive me. Have you told your story, your testimony? Have you ever been to churches to let them hear the spirit the word of this, because this is inspirational.
Clearly you're speaking something that I need to do. So I've talked at different places. Yes, I've talked at a few churches, but not the tour that I need to have. And see, God called you here today to set me on my course, because Ron told me he was going to work with me for something, but I'm taking your word, and that is what I'm going to do. I am literally going to book a bunch of speaking engagements at church. I am. Thank you for that.
Because you have to do this. And there are people, you see, there is something. Let me explain something very, very quickly. My story is not as good as yours. When I was just out of college, I happened to work for a U.S. Senator, and it was in Florida. And I got to be, I did everything. And when it came time for elections, I loved to go to all the AME churches, all the black churches. I never seen anything like this. I'm a retired Catholic. It was always boring. And I saw something, and something hit me. I said, there is something here. This is mesmerizing. This is from the mesmers. There's a collective energy here. There was also something years ago that I saw, which was interesting. I became interested in it. I was slain in the spirit, by the way, by Ernest Angley. Not that matters, but I became absolutely fascinated by this, by the charismatics, by a lot of people who said to me, and it never happened to me, but who said, when you enter this, in fact, the Catholic Church said, we don't want you to do this. They said, be prepared. There is think of it like a frequency. There is something, and all of these people cannot be making this up. There is God. There is the regular go to church, and then there's FM or microwave God or whatever. And there is something to this. And once you dip your toe in that medium, you're never the same. Again, I say people who not that there's a connection, but people who have had contacts with what they believe to be aliens and that sort of thing, you are never the same. Please, I'm not trying to compare the same. But no. When thousands of people say the same thing, who am I to say you're making this up? You're exaggerating. There is something. You have a duty to tell people, for all of you folks who think that God is this theoretical guy in the book, let me tell you something. And do me a favor. Prove me wrong. I say it is the holy word of God, the power of God. Tell me I'm wrong. Give me an alternative theory and I'm with you. What else could it be? There is no other excuse. There is nothing.
There's nothing else. It's definitely God. It's
100%.
He had the forethought to tell me you're about to be hit. Just to save me, to like, I'm getting ready to take you through, because there's a scripture that says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. A lot of people misunderstand it, and they think it to mean nothing will be formed against me. No, it's like a Jeopardy question. The answer is in the question. Right. Weapons will be formed against you. However, if you walk according to my will and my way, they will not prosper. I have to reframe that for people all the time. They think it means nothing will happen. Something will happen, but I won't let it prosper over you. And my life has exemplified that. When I tell you I don't doubt God for anything.
Have you ever dealt with people who have been, because I'm always thinking that using this model, there's justice you can get from the courts. Yes, that's one thing. But you have in you this cosmic experience that you need to share with somebody else who likewise was a victim of violent crime, who can't put it together, who feels like, who needs you to help them work through this.
Ron is working with me on that. I started writing a docuseries called SHOT, an acronym SHOT, Survivors Helping Others Through. God put that in my spirit one day, and I said, I'm going to do it. So I started filming out of my own pocket, started filming, doing interviews. We did quite a few, and then the pandemic happened and shut up. Yeah. And so, and things were in a standstill, but now Ron is going to, I have a sizzle reel and everything. We have some footage. Yeah. Help me.
I've already started the ball rolling today on setting up your new platforms, third-party monetization, all this kind of stuff. And then we're going to get this whole docuseries planned out and done and released. and just making sure that we're taking steps to create your online world now properly. Do you know what I mean? Because people kind of stumble into YouTube and stumble into online, and there's loads and loads of ways to just make sure that you can, keep lights on and keep things pressing forward. And I just want to remind everybody again, the Cash App link that is on the screen down there is Natania's. Anyone who would like to support her, what she's doing, you can do through there. And next week we'll have a broader spectrum of ways for people to support Natania.
My trusty dusty sidekick, my daughter, is standing over there peering at me. We have a movie date, so
okay.
Guys, I felt this penetrating stare. I was like, did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Then I looked at the time. I'm like, oh, okay. But
well, Natania, I'll be honest with you. One last thing, you need to do public speaking, right? Because there's more to you than words. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little, magic using pagan witch, right? And when you had your hand out of the screen, right, I had to get out the way at one point of that because of the resonating white energy, right?
See, but that's the slain in the spirit. That's
resonating.
They've been doing this, this, and where people. I mean,
it was a spiritual, like, mag light of energy coming through at me, and I don't need you trying to make me a better person, okay? All right, freaking holy woman, just okay. So yeah, you need to
that would be a tall order for you, Ron. Being a better person.
I'm okay with who I am.
Heart, the river, the seas, but. That's a tall order.
Listen, I live in the gray, okay? The balance of the black and the white. Natania is pure white energy, and it's overwhelming for me.
Be careful how you say that today. These are different times, Ron. Be careful how you say that. People take
listen, I'm fully happy with who I am, okay? And you know what I'm saying? But my word, there's rooms full of people who will just harness that energy. Right? Do you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I'm excited to see it. Okay, I might stand behind you at a show so that I'm not in front of the waves of energy, but I fully support you because you're just incredible on so many levels, and I can't wait to get it rolling for you.
Well, I am honored to meet you. And right now, somewhere in some corner, in some recess of the world, somebody is sitting there thinking, "Holy, wow."
And I say to that, to God be the glory. I have to always shout out my grandmother. My grandmother was a faith walker. I made a family joke one time, and it's a prevailing family joke. If I had to learn certain words from my grandmother, I would never know that the word tomorrow didn't include please God. My grandmother never said the word tomorrow. She said the word was tomorrow, please God, for everything. Tomorrow, please God, I'm going to go to the store. Tomorrow, please God, I'll cook fish. Tomorrow, please God, always. She was.
That's why in Islam, in the Muslim faith, it's always God willing, God willing, God willing, God willing. You can't do anything. What time is it? 2:30. God willing. It's the same thing because nothing can be presupposed without His ordination, His okay. Absolutely.
I tell you what, Alice, if that happens, okay, it's never going to happen. Respectfully, you're talking to a man who has met his God, physically stood in front of him, and that is why he is religious. Was not a religious man until his faithful God was in front of him. And respectfully. But if there's anyone that could, I'm telling you now, it's this lady right here. Because I'm telling you now, oh man, I tell you what, I bet I'd get really dizzy if we were sat in a cafe, right? I bet after about 10 minutes, I would get so dizzy just being near you because of the energy. I'm telling you, man.
First and foremost, thank you for saying that, and I totally get and understand what you mean. I'll tell you, like, there was something on the radio the other day. I was driving my daughter to school, and the question of the day was, "Have you ever been ghosted?" Oh, I laughed. I said, "Oh, many times." Like, listen, God rest my husband's soul. He battled kidney disease and he passed away. He fought a good fight, and he was my soulmate, and I love him. But trust me, the dating world, there are very few options for me.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No! Oh no! 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 No!
Did you just say the dating world?
Yeah, the dating.
Oh
world.
no! Listen, You said the dating world, did you? Say,
Dating.
nah, you're crazy.
Now,
Listen,
Natanya, listen to me.
listen. No, listen. I know what you're going to say. She's crazy. Don't pander to it. She's beautiful. Don't pander to it, Lionel. Okay? Don't pander to it.
Let me finish. If ever you are thinking about this and there is a man in your life, before you do this, you can say, listen to me. Tell me what's wrong with you. I'm not going to run. Tell me why you're nuts. What is your problem? Is it drugs, alcohol, bereavement, eating disorders, depression? How many psychiatrists? How many medical? What's wrong with you? Just tell me. Tell me, kind of like a Miranda card. You know, like you have the right to remain silent. What's wrong with you?
Just send me their Facebook link. I'll give you their entire internet data for the last 20 years. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem whatsoever.
They'll be like, "Oh, what you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, got some things to do, a couple of appointments, and they'll be like, "Okay, I'll give you a call." Go on.
Natanya, I'm about to drop you in it, but I feel like you'll be okay with it because this is all in your wheelhouse. Put a 1 in the side chat if you would go to a weekly live stream on Natania's channel where she is projecting her amazing energy through the camera, whether you need inspiration, whether you needed lifted up. And I'm only saying this because I felt your freaking beam of energy come through and it was oppressive to me, but to all the other people that would welcome that, right? I'm telling you now, right? We're going to plan that. Okay. Stay tuned. We're going to plan that. We're going to plan that.
And many of your followers were there. Many of your listeners were there, and they were.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We had a great time. I let people come on the screen and just talk and I did things with them, and it was beautiful. And I
listen.
Do it.
I love that, right? And I fully endorse, your what I regard as your power. So and it's a positive one. All right. It's not a negative one. It's a positive one. So I can get behind it all. 100%.
You guys rock. Let me tell you something. When I tell you the best thing I ever did was come into your live stream. You guys rock. You are amazing. Lionel are absolutely a dream. Hilarious.
No, I know. I'm just a visitor. They're doing it.
No, you're great. You're great. But Ron, you know how I feel about you. Shane, Sean, Maggie, Paula, Latricia, everybody, and Queenie, you guys are amazing. And when I tell you, Wild Horses couldn't keep me from you guys. You guys.
Oh, Gino Vanelli.
Who?
Love that.
Gino Vanelli, Wild Horses.
Okay.
My favorite version. Check that out.
Wild Horses.
I've added Lionel into our little WhatsApp group as well. So just because I know that you guys will have more conversations to be had for sure.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to let everyone go. It is a pleasure, madam, to speak you. And you are my new best friend. You know that? Let me tell you something. All kidding aside, you're a very special man, younger man. You've got a lot of wisdom there. And I know you put off, you try to be, whatever, this tough, gruff experience, but inside there's a teddy bear.
Yes, he is.
A very soft, mushy, sweet man. And I appreciate it. And I mean that from the best.
I will take that.
My friend.
I will take that because a bear is a good way to describe me. For those who I love, I'm snuggly and cuddly. But wait until you even cross one of those who I love, and the claws come out. And I'll eat your face first. Like I'll eat your toes first, and that. Like I'll prolong it as the bear. And
thank you, Hannibal Lecter. What a wonderful. Yeah. Only you could take a wonderful send a paean of love and turn it into
the eye is closing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Natalia knows what happens when the eye starts to close, the brain starts to go.
And Ron, with a Chianti and some fava beans, you can't be.
Just don't mess with my people. Okay. Natania is all about forgiveness. I'll teach you the tough love slowly. I'm telling you.
Can you hear the lambs, Clarice?
There you go.
Hello, Clarice.
Guys, it was a blast as always.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Thank you for
all the best.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy, guys.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to let you know what happens when I get left at the end of the live stream. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I just want to say thank you to everyone's support. Big shout out to our guest tonight. Big shout out to the mods. Sean, if anyone missed it at the beginning of this, I'm sorry to do this, but you are busted. Mr. Banana. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Nice. All right. I guess we could chat for a minute, I guess. What do you want to talk about? Come on. 5 minutes before Sean comes marching through and just ends the stream. 5 minutes. What we got? Subscribe to my channel. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's go rogue. Subscribe to my channel. Can we get me up to 13K? This is an abuse of power. Wicked. Right, let's do it. What do you want to talk about, guys? But listen, again, genuinely, I need to go. The most beautiful woman in the world, who is my wonderful fiance, has put up for almost 4 hours. I'm going to go through and hang out with her. So I love you all. I love her more. Sean, once again, I'm so sorry to have done this to you. We'll see you all in the next live stream. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. For me, Ron Swanson, as always, be safe out there, guys.